The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey.
Why?
Let's go!
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for it.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
You ping!
Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Welcome to the Pat McAfee Show. I'm obviously not Pat McAfee. He joins us via Sacramento. Cannot wait for that. Monday, April 14th starts now. Sports!
Nailed it.
Hell yeah.
You nailed it. You absolutely nailed it, AJ.
Wow. Well,
Feels like the timing was good. Feels like the boys look good. Feels like sports are awesome, especially on this magical post-Masters overreaction Monday. AJ, golf was fantastic this weekend. I assume you spent the weekend like the rest of us, either gathering your children or your family and then peeking up at the television and realizing that the Masters leaderboard was that of legends, was that of dreams. Everything we could have hoped for the Masters to be this past weekend, it was. AJ Hawkins, I am live here in Sacramento, California. Beautiful arena, brand new arena. The road to WrestleMania continues tonight on Raw, but nonetheless, the Masters this weekend was spectacular, AJ. I assume you watched it, as did I.
yeah, I think everybody had to be. I mean, even if you're not a golf fan, you kind of had to be captivated by this whole situation. I'm sitting there watching, like you said, I had all my kids rounded around. They're sitting there and we're watching. And they just didn't understand, I guess, the magnitude of every single putt. They'd see like a 3-foot putt. Like, what do you mean that's easy putt? Anyone can make that. And I'm saying, this is not. Guys, you guys do not understand golf like people do. This place is Augusta that looks like there was glass. Like every single green seemed like, how do you ever hold a ball? How does anything ever stop? And I feel like, Todd, what did you think when Rory hit that ball? What was it where he hit the ball that they called like an egregious mistake, I guess, when he hit it in the water? When he, on a short little chip shot on the back nine, he hits in the water and people think this is the one thing you can't do. And somehow Rory finds a way.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone just thought, like, here we go again. You know, like that. A lot of people really like Rory, but it's also kind of, I don't want to say it's fun to watch someone who clearly like has issues at Augusta.
I haven't spoken into the mic in program.
But like it just, I mean, I think you just assumed like, here we go again. He's gonna, like, he had such a massive lead. Thought he was just gonna, you know, kind of wither away. A couple other people behind him were starting to come on hot, and then it was just like, I don't know, it was crazy. He hit some of the maybe the worst shots of his career down the
this
stretch.
right here is an all-time shot I've ever seen.
Yeah, followed by maybe like the 4 best shots of his career. So yeah, I mean, it was an incredible weekend all around.
Conman, when you watch Rory, do you have any vested interest when you watch any kind of golf? Conman, I think, Pat, we finally got you back in here. It was, we watched this shot on 15th that Rory hit, I think, captivated everyone, Pat. This thing was unbelievable.
Absolutely. I have no idea if you can hear me at all.
Oh, no.
Yeah. We're picking you up in the background.
Yeah.
Or something?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 100% on me. Okay, so 13th, whenever he goes in the water, all hell breaks up loose. Oh my God, here's Rory McIlroy doing Rory McIlroy again. Anybody that's followed golf for, you know, an extended period of time since Rory has kind of come into this entire thing, we saw him come in to the golf world incredibly hot. Holy hell, this is the new guy. He had sweet hair. You know, he was in a relationship. He breaks up, gets out of his relationship, becomes single, goes on to become the #1 golfer in the world. This is going to be the next guy. Then a drought came. Oh my God, this guy can't win it, including one at the Masters over a decade ago. We're on the 10th tee. He had the lead, and he shanked it so bad into a house directly to the left that whenever you tee off there, even if it's not during the tournament, they go, you can't hit it worse than Rory hit it here whenever he was going to win the Masters. And everybody just thought Rory was maybe going to crumble. There's no way Rory's going to be able to finish it, even though it felt like a different Rory McIlroy. It felt like Rory McIlroy could possibly Rory McIlroy at any given moment. Every single tee box, every single chip, even the short putt that he missed missed on 18. Oh no, here it is. This is going to be how it all ends for Rory. Instead, he steps on it in extra holes. He ends, this one. Oh no. Oh no. It's going to happen.
Yep.
Rory McIlroy is going to blow it again. Justin Rose just buried a massive putt. Justin Rose is hot going into overtime. Rory McIlroy's ice cold. Rory chips that thing to about 3 feet, cements himself as a Grand Slam champion with that shot right there, and I think we're all incredibly happy for him. We'll be talking to Solly of No Laying Up here in a matter of moments about how the golf world has responded to this, but whenever you see him react that way, it was very evident that about 1 billion pounds of pressure was lifted off of his shoulders. This guy was never going to be able to win the Masters, maybe never even win a big one again, and whenever he pulls it off in extra holes and everybody celebrates with him, it's a beautiful thing. Now, I will say, shout out to DeChambeau representing for most of the weekend. Now, not on Sunday, but through Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, absolutely doing his thing. And let's go to our live golf super fan, Darius J. Butler. What were your thoughts on what happened on Sunday, and what are your thoughts on Rory McIlroy finally conquering a mountain that nobody thought he'd be able to conquer?
I mean, it was absolute cinema. You mentioned Liv. Everybody thought coming into it was going to be a battle between those two guys at the top, Rory and Bryson. Like you said, Bryson had a tough Sunday, but to see Rory and like the mental toughness he had, like not only Sunday but throughout the whole tournament. I think he's the first Masters winner that had 4 double bogeys throughout the week in total. So that was incredible. Then obviously we talked about the missed putt on 18. For him to sit there and wait on the 18th hole for Justin Rose to get there and then have to play it all over and then get it done, like that second shot to put it for that tap in, that was incredible. So like the mental toughness, the bounce back. So it was just Rose, that long birdie putt he made on 18 to get him in the playoff. Patrick Reed made a run. Scotty had a decent, he almost got in there. So it was just absolute cinema the whole Sunday. The Masters kind of never, I'm pissed off I haven't been watching this shit my whole life. This is only like my third. I think I saw Ron win it, I saw Scotty win it, and now seeing Rory. And you mentioned it, like the emotions. You know, I'm not the biggest Rory guy, especially once Liv came how he was, but he's kind of got back, I guess, a little more in my good graces. But just see the emotions, the weight lifted off him enjoying it with his friends, with his family, and just kind of the whole sports world coming together and kind of just congratulating and patting on the back to get this career Grand Slam, which is, he's like the 6th golfer ever, right, to get on this list. So just absolutely incredible stuff from the Masters and obviously for Rory.
That's where he was supposed to be, you know, on the list of 6 greatest golfers of all time, especially, you know, in Tone, you might know a little better than me, but it feels like Rory was supposed to be a guy that he couldn't keep up, you know, and then Spieth was supposed to be a guy and then couldn't keep up with the pace. Brooks was going to be the guy, but then Brooks only really started caring only about majors, and, you know, then he disappears over to LIV, taking a couple $100 million. You do what you got to do. Rombo was supposed to be the guy, same situation. Tiger was really the guy for so long. Everybody was trying to see who was next, who was next, who was next. Then the original Rory Nike commercials were like him as a kid, practicing the fist pumps as if he wanted to be Tiger. Coming out of Northern Ireland, this is going to be a lad of the lads. He's going to be the one. And for him to finally get on this list that I assume he has thought about on a very regular basis, him walking through the champions locker room after getting the win and just, you know, kind of eyeballing all the different winners. And I assume there's a lot of golfers on there that he thinks are crop golfers that have won the Masters, or like snuck, and by crop, you know what I mean, in comparison to what Rory is. But finally, his name is etched where it's supposed to be as a Grand Slam champion. Obviously going to be one of the GOATs no matter what. But him being able to say that he won the Masters, and then he finally got this, his orangutan off of his back tone. Felt good for Rory. What were the odds on him all weekend? And how many people you think hammered Rory McIlroy to fail yesterday like he had done so many times in the past?
The odds, Scotty was the favorite and Rory was the second odds-on favorite to win this tournament. Now, after the opening round, Rory and Scotty were basically the same. Rory, I believe, was minus 220 coming into Sunday to win that one with the lead that he had. So the odds makers believed he could get it done, but I assume there were a lot of people sprinkling bets on other guys to get this done because of Rory's history in the last 10 years. And like you said, after Tiger, Rory was supposed to be Tiger. Now that's almost, it's incredibly impossible to live up to. But for the beginning of his career, he did. Like those first 4 majors, he was so young. I looked it up yesterday. So Tiger in the early 2000s, there was only one other guy that was ranked number 1 in the world during that time, and it was Vijay Singh. And then in the 2010s, after Tiger, Rory led the most weeks at number 1, so he was the guy after Tiger. But after those first 4 majors, and he had the Rory video game after Tiger had the video game. There's only 2 guys that have done that, so he did have the torch. But then you talked about it, where he just had all these second place finishes and heartbreak at all these majors, especially the Masters, and all those other guys up there on the list that have won the Grand Slam. No other guy took more than 3 times at an event to finally get the Grand Slam. It took Rory 11 times. So just like all that heartbreak and all that waiting over years and years and years, and you talked about the wait, it just kept getting more and more. And after, but so to finally see it get done yesterday it was really cool to see.
Scary when he bogeys.
Oh my God!
18. I mean. I was so worried for him. I'm like, oh no,
How about when he saw his daughter and his wife, Pat, after they're standing there ready to celebrate, hey, we just won the Masters, and he has to go hit another, he knows he's going to a playoff hole, and he's like, oh, hey,
how about
just
this
a quick
one right
little quick little hug and kiss here.
How about this one right here? I mean, this is, a 1.5 feet? I mean, that didn't feel like 45. Yeah, let's focus in here, Rory. He gave a little speech to himself. Because there was somebody earlier in the week that missed the cut, I believe, from missing a 2-foot tap in that kind of powered it through. Oh. So him being able to regather himself to get to the playoff hole, to do this, Ty Schmidt, to do this right in front of Justin Rose. Justin Rose hit a great shot in. I mean, that was a great shot in. Yeah. Both of them had stupendous drives as well. That's a tight gallery there on that particular hole. I mean, it is long and tight in there, and both of them hit magnetic draws. A little fade there. And then for him to be able to put it home and win, good for Rory, just to make himself go through a little Rory McIlroy one last time, Ty.
Yeah, without a doubt. And you talk about the mental toughness, like that. He said, I think he had 2 yards fewer than his shot on 18, and trying not to replay that in your head, like, hey, on 18 initially, all he had to do was hit it on the green. You hit it on the green, and you 2-putt from there, and he wins. And inexplicably, he goes into the bunker, and then it's like, okay, here we go again. And then for him to stick it in there that close, and then on top of it, it's so cool to watch him, because everyone knows about Rory's talent, obviously, if you've been watching golf for a long time. But over the last several years with the PGA and LIV stuff, whether he wanted it or not, the PGA kind of almost made him like a figurehead and a politician. It's like, hey, we need you to kind of be the torchbearer. And, I think that kind of turned a lot of people away from Rory, and it kind of, it made people want to see Rory, play like shit and ultimately maybe lose something like this. But it's just like the roller coaster that he takes you on and around. There are so few guys left like that anymore. And to win this year, when he arguably did it against, maybe the toughest field in the history of the Masters. These guys are just getting better and better. And for him, to have the mental toughness because he could have just absolutely crumbled, especially the way multiple
times he could have packed it inside.
And then when Justin Rose played the way he did down the stretch, it's like this guy's got all the momentum, and then for Rory to stick it in there from 2 feet on the first playoff hole, it was incredible.
Yeah, I thank Augusta and the Masters for just providing something it feels like the whole world watches, but is impossible to find. They'll be golfing. I'll see some highlights on social media of something happening, and it's like, well, where's this at? Oh, it's on Paramount Plus. It's on it's on ESPN Plus. It is. Where the hell is this thing? And then even on Sunday, it didn't even start until 2:00 or something. Yeah. But a lot of these channels do interesting little moves, like the Golf Channel or even ESPN. They'll show other Masters stuff, and they'll keep the sound in the background as if it is the Masters, so they can kind of steal your view. And then when you look up, it's like, well, we're not on this isn't the Masters. Where's the Masters? And then you start scanning through, and it's like, well, it's not on TV until 3:00. Where am I supposed to go to? Well, you got to download the Paramount Plus. What is it? The Masters app. Does my TV do that? Maybe my TV isn't as smart as everybody else's TV. It was hard to find for a little bit, but boy, whenever that thing came on, it was must watch. Thank you to the golfers for the electrifying weekend, and thank you to Augusta for the whole no cell phone thing still being a thing. That's so cool to see. It's like you're watching like a documentary on something that happened 100 years ago. Whenever you see that crowd, that big, crowd was huge. Gigantic crowds. Weather was beautiful. Remember, in years past, there'd been some rain maybe, so maybe that scared some people away. Feels like the weather was perfect down in Augusta, Georgia all weekend, so the crowds were gigantic. Not a single cell phone in the sky. Everybody taking it in. Celebrities acting just as everybody else as regular-ass patrons. It's like, it's one. Look at that in the background. It feels like you're watching something from the 1920s, the 1910s, and everybody just clapping and enjoying the moment. And obviously it was Rory's moment, but I think we should get down there someday to the Masters.
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't know how. Did you buy your way into that, or how's that work?
I think we can broadcast down there. Maybe pick up a Thursday, Friday round.
Chance.
I'll tell you this, AJ. Yeah. It felt like ESPN had a pretty good batch of land down there in Augusta. I don't know if we're ever cracking into any of that, brother. I don't know. Bro culture, the bro culture, not that, bros like sports or anything like that. But I think we would potentially have to be fully suited and booted if we went down there, and we'd definitely do that hopefully next year. Before we get back to golf conversation with a man who knows golf much better than we do, and old Solly Solomon from No Laying Up. A couple big NFL news. Obviously, there was a couple big deals that took place. Congrats to the lads signing massive deals. But there was one deal that wasn't done that we haven't talked about yet. TJ Watt chucking the deuces up on his IG story. AJ, have we got any update? Have you heard any update on what the hell is going on over in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania?
Tone, I'd love to hear what you have heard from your insiders, but from everything we know, they're at a standstill. That's all I've heard. I've heard that word standstill a few times. Tone, what does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, everything I have seen on the internet is that TJ in the contract talks is not going great right now. He wants more.
Have they ever been close? Like, do we know even the parameters? Have they?
Well, potentially
anything?
The rumor is he wants more than Myles Garrett, and it feels like the Steelers, potentially don't want to go. They didn't think it would be that high, but that's kind of what you get for waiting on these deals. Because if it would have got done earlier, maybe the number wouldn't have been 40. But no, this was concerning. Like last time, TJ had his contract talks and he kicked the door down. He said, "Hey, agents, I'm getting this done. I need to play football." There was none of this that happened, so it feels different this time. It's a bit worrisome. I don't know what the future is going to be. I don't know if they are going to get a deal done. He's got 1 year left. Would he hold out? That last time he got a contract, he didn't go to training camp and he didn't participate in training camp until he got his contract done. So it's definitely something to watch right now. It's interesting, and I don't love it. I don't love it, if we're being honest.
Okay, so let's talk about another Pittsburgh Steeler. Ben Roethlisberger last week on his Footballin' with Ben podcast that I was very lucky to be a guest of. Hey, Age.
Yeah.
We filmed that in his basement, Ben Roethlisberger's basement. Nicest house I've ever been in my entire life. Nicest house.
I've heard some crazy
his
things.
Basement,
I've heard it's amazing. Like, not only big, but like just really cool features too that like you would love.
Oh, secret passages.
Really?
Things that
tunnels underneath.
Yeah,
connecting places.
I don't know about any of that, AJ.
To like a bunker, that he could put his family in or something.
I assume he has a bunker. I think there's a horse farm there, but he had these stairs. It felt like we're in a castle. We go down, and there's a like a cigar room that has a Braveheart sword and axe up on the wall.
That's
little
awesome.
Candle, fire, it was huge space too. They had to dig into a hole. I don't know how gigantic. Then we go and do the entire podcast. He was chit-chatting about the Aaron Rodgers situation, and he said, how come nobody's mentioned this little tidbit?
Or I think there might be, is there a wild card team out there?
That nobody's talking about.
Is there a wild card team out there that's like, oh, wow. Like maybe there's a quarterback out there, and I'm not going to mention any names, who maybe has a subtle injury that people don't know about. Oh. A starting quarterback on a team out there that has an injury that people don't know about. And maybe he's waiting for that. Okay, so Big Ben Roethlisberger says, maybe, I don't want to mention any names, feels like he might have knew. Then over the weekend, we get the news, Derek Carr, quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, is dealing with a shoulder injury that threatens his availability for this season, sources say. We'll be talking to Rapoport in about 10 minutes or so.
Are the New Orleans Saints in conversations with Aaron Rodgers? And first of all, Derek Carr, Godspeed, brother. So sorry to hear that. That absolutely sucks. But it feels like the Saints had decided Derek Carr was going to be their quarterback. Maybe now they're looking into this rookie draft class. But an injury to his shoulder is potentially going to keep him out of next season. This is something like I arrived at training camp and I was called down to the training room. I got down there. Peyton Manning had a bunch of wires out of his neck. Okay, Peyton's neck has not been healed. He's going to need more surgery or more procedure, whatever the case is. And I immediately knew I did not prepare enough to punt as many times as we were going to punt that season. We would then almost go completely defeated. But nobody really knew how severe that injury was. Off-season injuries don't have to be reported. Are the Saints eyeing Aaron Rodgers? AJ Hawk, is that something that's happening right now?
When I first heard this whole thing with Carr getting hurt, that's what I thought. I'm like, okay, do the Saints want Aaron? Would Aaron want to go there? And I don't know. I don't have any answers for you, but I think any place like this to where a quarterback job becomes open because a veteran guy goes down, you're going to have to ask if Aaron's not signed somewhere. Like, is this the team that would go after Aaron, and would he want to be there?
It wouldn't be a terrible situation.
See, right? Yeah.
They got some good players.
They got
what do you think?
Got Kamara back there. You got Rashid Shaheed. Obviously, Chris Olave is a dynamic weapon when he's healthy and he's out there. But this is a wild situation. Obviously, Big Ben knew for sure. But then you also look at the quarterback position for Aaron Rodgers. Okay, NFC South or AFC North. You know, we're all expecting it's Pittsburgh or possibly New Orleans Saints. So what's the best path to the playoffs? And then obviously this makes the draft and where the Saints are picking at number 9 much more interesting, especially for those teams up at the top. Maybe they can trade back the teams that don't need a quarterback, and the Saints jump up. So this was wild though. You mentioned Peyton. We kind of had a similar situation with Andrew Luck coming in, and that's always a shock kind of to the locker room, to the fan base when you're going into a season at this off-season point in time when teams report and you get a big news like that, especially from your franchise quarterback or the guy you're expecting to be your starting quarterback for that season. So this is huge NFL news right now.
Pat, you're muted.
They might have muted you.
Okay. Still muted.
Look, you think we could read his lips? Think we could do it? Like there's videos on the internet?
No.
Still muted. Try to figure out, see what he's saying.
The thing is here, like you guys talked about it with the draft now, the Saints are now the favorite to take Shedeur at 9.
Yeah.
Ooh. How long did the Saints know that Derek was been hurt? Like, do you think something popped up in a workout, or is this something he's thought he could get through?
Probably a while. Like if Pat mentioned it, you don't have to report.
Ben knew.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't have to report, off-season injuries, I think you can make the assumption they've known for quite some time, and I feel like they've kind of been in most of the quarterback conversations when it comes to the rookie class, not so much like Rodgers and Russell Wilson and stuff like that, but you can make the assumption they've always known, like, hey, we need to address the QB situation, and they're still what, 50, how many millions dead in the cap or whatever. Like their cap situation has been shit for so long that it feels like it's inevitable that they were eventually going to have to take quarterback.
Yeah, because they weren't gung ho on Carr going into this season anyway. Like we were talking about, like, hey, are they going to get rid of him with Kellen Moore coming in? And then it was like, no, they're going to stick with him. So I'm sure they've been kicking the tires on everyone. But you also wonder, I mean, I don't think it's a guarantee that they would be picking at the top, but like if you're going to draft a quarterback at 9 this year, if Carr is out for the whole year and you have to start, Spencer Rattler or whatever, like there's a chance you get the first overall pick next year. Is that, so is it like it's one of those things where how do you balance that?
Yeah, that's another good point too. With I kind of completely forgot about Kelly Moe being the head coach now. So now you probably my preference would be, if I'm Kelly Moe, probably to go and get my own young quarterback.
Exactly.
Like you mentioned, either this year or next year in the draft. Maybe it's Arch. Maybe he goes back to where his grandpa went.
Exactly. I don't think his grandpa's let him go play for the Saints, just based on how it went for old Archie. But, I mean, there's a boy who loves Gator in that area. I think that they can kind of look to good old Jackson Dart. I think he's got a lot of fans down there in that area. I mean, Ole Miss boy, right? I assume a lot of Mississippi, people are fans of the New Orleans Saints just because, of course it's close to it, but also there isn't a professional team in Mississippi. So Jackson Dart feels like the guy that's been climbing, while Shedeur's the one that's been maybe dropping a little bit, even though Shedeur has said, don't believe what the media says.
Who do we
can't believe anything.
We can't believe anything that's happening right now, but I guess it does really change. It's amazing anything else like this thing comes up between today, and the draft? Any other bombshell injuries or trades or something that happens? Not trades, but
I think on the draft. I don't know about
draft
before.
Day is gonna be
I think draft because like the Patriots, like Deba mentioned, if they're going to trade up, like I don't think the Patriots are going to make a draft trade today because let's say they do trade the 4, and then all of a sudden 2 quarterbacks go 1-2, and then Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter are there at 4, and they're standing there looking like idiots because they traded out too early. So it feels like maybe leading up to the draft might not be as electrifying, but then maybe actual draft day, like it kind of feels like the whole entire thing with Trey Lance when that draft day everything kind of changed for the Niners at that 3 overall pick where they're supposed to take Mac Jones and then hold on, they're going to take Trey Lance. Like it feels like something like that might happen where out of nowhere is some team, and maybe it's not even the Saints. Maybe the Saints do like a Rattler type move, but maybe the Jets fall in love with someone and all of a sudden they want a quarterback, or the Steelers because the Steelers get a little nervous about the Saints taking the guy that they want and they trade up with TJ Watt, who maybe doesn't have his contract figured out. Maybe TJ Watt, George Pickens, and a first round pick next year to the number 4 pick. That'll work. Just something to think about.
Good deal.
I mean, I guess who in the top 5 or 10, who in the top 10 do we know is there a team that is pretty much locked in on a certain player? You just think of anyone right now?
Just the top?
Look at the top. Look at the top 10 and you feel like, hey, these guys, this is who they're taking.
Cam Ward at 1, I feel like.
After that, though, do we know anything?
No, because I feel like it's bounced back and forth between Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter at number 2.
And we really don't know what those teams are thinking and who they truly like. We know what the pundits are saying.
No, and then one day Shedeur Sanders, he might be going 3 to the Giants, and then the next day it's like, well, he actually might be a 4th-round pick this year. So it's kind of like outside of Cam Ward at number 1, I really don't think there's like a clear cut.
Where's Jackson Dart going? He's intriguing me. What's going on? I feel like he's going to be the talk of the draft.
It's super intriguing. And originally, there was a lot of mocks having go 21 to the Steelers, but then a few weeks ago, I was listening to Phil Yates and Mel Kiper's show. I think it's called First Draft, hosted by Mike Greenberg. And I can't remember if it was Kiper or Phil, but one of them had Jackson Dart at 9, just as something to watch because it made sense, because he could sit for a year behind Derek Carr. I don't think at this time anyone had any idea about the injury, because when you were looking at the teams, that need a quarterback or whatever, like the Raiders got their quarterback, the Jets potentially got their quarterback, but then like the next spot that had a big question mark about their future was 9 at the Saints, and then there was kind of the gap until 21 at the Steelers for Jackson Dart, and even people said, maybe the Rams poke around at taking Jackson Dart to be Stafford's replacement. They thought that might be a good fit, but no, as far as now, like it doesn't feel like he's going to go 2 or 3, obviously, but 9, 21, and then maybe potentially the Rams later. But anything could happen at this point.
Yeah, I think I'm on an island here, but I still think Shedeur goes to the Browns at 2.
Yes.
I think it's Cam Ward.
Right,
I just saw it. I'm definitely gonna take a look at that after the show.
Even after Flacco?
But yeah, I know. Look, they got Smoking Joe back there. Joe Flacco back in Cleveland. That's obviously a big deal. But I don't think you go into the season with Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco as your quarterbacks. You obviously have to figure that situation out. So I think Shedeur goes 2. And then the question is obviously, where do those 2 blue chippers go with Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter?
Well, in footsteps, Flacco. I mean, I feel like there's nobody better.
He's got some magic left.
A mentor when it comes to a guy who knows the game, who knows how to win a Super Bowl. And Shedeur, I don't know about you guys, but he does remind me a little bit of Flacco. I think he does have a little bit of cool Joe footsteps in him. But it does feel like
I don't see it.
Art talent.
You got to watch
Flacco had
the tape.
The hose.
You're gonna have to keep watching the tape.
Okay, I gotta go grind the tape.
But it does feel like Shedeur had to, like the entire thing before. And Schefter, I think had said this on the show. Like, hey, the Browns are going to take a quarterback. They need a quarterback. The whole Myles Garrett thing, and maybe this was it. Maybe the Browns, before they paid Myles Garrett $40 million a year, and the plan they told them at quarterback was, hey, we're going to get Flacco. And Myles Garrett said, give me the pen. I need to sign my name now if Joey Flack is back, because last time he was here, we went to the playoffs. But also, maybe there's a chance that this entire time the Browns have been locked in at 2 with Shedeur, and instead of just kind of revealing their hand. Maybe they have kind of thought, hey, we could possibly trade back if we kind of go with the smokescreen. Hey, we're not going to take Shedeur. We're going to take someone else who everyone loves, Travis Hunter. If we drive up the price of these other two guys, Hunter and Carter, maybe they could move back to like a 5 or a 6 and still end up with Shedeur and, get high value for that pick if those two guys are available. And even with New England, like if the New England Patriots obviously, wanted to take Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter and they didn't want to take a left tackle, the best way to get them to move to 2 would be like, hey, yeah, we're locked in on Travis Hunter or, Abdul Carter. If you want him, you're going to have to really come up and get him. Then they still get their guy at 4. But I agree with Darius. I think the Browns still need a quarterback bad.
Yeah, they do, and we don't want to keep this guy waiting any longer. We'll get back to football, but this guy's been polite and hanging on the line, waiting for us. Obviously, he, the co-founder of the No Lane Up podcast, he was glued to his television yesterday. I don't think he was there in person. I don't know, guys. We'll see in a second. But, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chris Solomon.
Yeah!
Were you out there walking the hills yesterday?
I was there from Sunday to Friday. I came home Saturday morning to watch the end on TV and to help out on the home front. It's a demanding week on the home front, but I was going through all the emotions in front of a TV, watching from different parts of my office, moving around in different rooms when it wasn't going very well. It was an emotional journey that really only Rory McIlroy can take us on, because that was one of the wildest Sundays I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Watching that, it was an absolute. People, I'm sure had some heart issues for that when you're actually rooting for Rory in those situations. But was it? I know he kind of mentioned this afterwards. You think is it relief? Is it joy? Is it a mixture of both? And where do you see Rory going from here? I feel like this could just springboard him and his confidence into a new stratosphere.
Well, I think the relief it has multiple layers to it. One, in that it's a burden that he's carried for at least a decade in terms of trying to complete the career Grand Slam. But as far as winning a green jacket, you go all the way back to 2011. He held a big lead going into the final round, shot 80, a historic collapse. Everyone's seen the images of that, and him chipping out from behind a cabin on the 10th hole on the second 9 there. And it's been a golf course that has been in his head. It's undeniable. I think he would admit that, if he has had a mental block about the golf's biggest championship, its biggest stage, and trying to get it done. And the career Grand Slam only added another layer to that. And then on top of that, you have the way in which this got really close at the end. You want to talk about relief at the end. If he did not close this out, we'd be sitting here talking today about one of the great all-time collapses in golf history. The shot you're showing on the screen there is the wedge into 13 was truly, and I know this is probably recency bias, I'm struggling to come up with a more inexplicable golf shot I've ever seen a professional golfer hit in a big moment, because not only does he miss a wedge right into the water, he had a slope to use left of the pin that he should have been aiming for, and I truly don't know what happened on that shot. But every time his back was against the wall, every time he had a disaster, they just continued to reach higher levels. He would come up with a golf shot that I've never seen before in terms of on the positive side. I mean, the 7-iron he hit into the 15th hole after that disaster on 13 is what's going to get replayed, for forever, for history, and we'll remember it fondly now because of how the final result worked out, and not remember it as one of golf's all-time collapses. Thank God.
Sully, let's talk about that. Do you think having to hit a ridiculous draw, like, I don't want to say it's a trick shot, but it's a harder shot, was good for him? Because mentally it's just like an, to hell with it type shot. And then whenever he hits it clean, he thinks to himself, okay, we're back. And then whenever he gets to the 18th and he misses that putt, are you doing what we're all doing? Like, oh no, it is going to happen. Rory is going to blow it yet again.
100%. I think can't be a coincidence that every time he kind of took his foot off the gas yesterday, was playing smart. Like the approach he took into 13 was like, hey, this is disaster proof. 3-wood, little layup, wedge on the green. Only way I can get myself in trouble here is if I dunk, maybe lose my second ball or hit it in the water. I'm playing it smart. And gripped the steering wheel too tight and had a choke and made double bogey. Whereas when he gets to 15, he can go back into superhero mode and hit the shot that is his superpower, which is to shoot that 7-iron way up in the air. That green was so firm. We saw all week guys struggling to hold this green, and watch where this ball lands. Like, it lands not very far onto that green and still barely holds the back of that. I mean, I can't even describe how good this shot was, especially with what he had been through. It can't be a coincidence, though, that when he needed to, he tried to hit a hero shot, a shot that's really difficult. Sometimes in pressure situations, that's easier for players at this level because they're not worried about, what could go wrong here or what if I blow this. It's you're trying to achieve versus trying not to screw up. There's a big difference.
Yeah, so
for me, just hold on one second. Just for me, as a kicker punter, similar situation. You have a bad ball, a couple bad balls in a row, and then you get to one that you're not supposed to make, like not supposed to hit, and then all of a sudden it kind of lets you free. It kind of lets you free yourself. He sees that ball turning. It's almost a nice reminder that he is a golf god. Like, hey, let's remember who the hell we are and why we're here. So shout out to the golf gods for blessing him for that. Go ahead, B-Butt. Sorry, AJ.
Nah, shout out to the golf gods for sure for blessing all of us this Sunday. But these golf shots were incredible, but I like to talk about a little bit of the drama. The PGA and the LIV, and we expected a big Bryson Rory showdown. And then after the match, I believe Bryson was interviewed and talked about how, Rory didn't talk to him all day. Is that pretty normal on a Sunday? Because I know I've heard Tiger stories. Tony Finau spoke about how they played one Sunday and Tiger didn't say a word to him. So is that normal? Or is that kind of, I guess, athlete by athlete, tournament by tournament type of thing?
So I'll say this. I think to give Bryson the benefit of the doubt in this situation, Rory, after Bryson won the U.S. Open and Rory kind of collapsed there on the back end, Rory famously sped off, did not speak to media, did not answer questions. So I want to give Bryson credit for when the scenario was flipped, he's speaking to media in an immediate time period after a very emotional week that he's had. Probably exhausted, probably very frustrated that he had came up short of a life-changing moment of winning the green jacket. So I'll say that. To say, maybe the tone of how he's reflecting on things maybe came across in a certain way, especially when it's going to get clipped on social media.
Yep.
That's the benefit of the doubt. The other side, I'd say, he should absolutely not expect Rory McIlroy to talk to him while trying to conquer all of the demons of Augusta National. Like you said, the example Tony Finau gave of, he tried to talk to Tiger in 2019 around the 7th hole. Hey, Tiger, how are the kids? And Tiger just said, they're good. And never said another word to him the rest of the round. And Finau got the hint of like, okay, this is locked in Sunday Tiger at Augusta. Maybe we talk after the round. Maybe we talk on Monday. I'm sure Bryson and Rory have each other's phone numbers if they want to talk a lot. They have that opportunity. Probably not the opportunity for that to happen. And so I'm not surprised that they did not talk or were not talking to each other. A little surprised that Bryson kind of presented in that way. But like I said, that could be a reflection of exhaustion. Bryson hit like 1,000 range balls this week. They had a counter on range balls. He was number one in the field, I think, on range balls. I think the guy just needed a little bit of sleep.
Yeah, I think certainly Bryson DeChambeau football is to outwork everybody all the time. Him on the range late at night is seemingly becoming a custom, a thing that happens at all these. And you talked about Tony Finau talking about Tiger, and Bryson should have known that with Rory. I had a chance. Adam Vinatieri was the kicker, and I was a holder for him. And as a holder for a kicker, you're acting as a caddy almost. You're like kind of a caddy, like, hey, this is where we're at. Aim, this is what we think, yada, yada, yada. For most of the time, whenever we jog on the field, it'd be very jovial. I'd be trying to keep him loose. I'd say something, I'd end up calling him an old man. I'd point at somebody, hey, let's aim at this guy. Let's go ahead and try to draw it in here around a little bit of the tubby fella there, like that type of stuff. Then we get to the first one where it was a game winner, and I turned around, and he was an actual just zombie. Nothing. Nothing at all. Locked in more so than I've ever seen a human being locked in. I don't even think he blinked for the entire time we jogged out there. And it's like those guys that have the capability, and women that have the capability to get into that zone, are normally the ones who get up to the top. If Rory was able to find that, which I assume he's had in the past, but like those are the different animals up there that are able. That's the Mamba mentality that everybody talks about, being able to kind of lock in. I'm happy to hear that that's how Rory was. And I do love that Bryson DeChambeau he wouldn't talk to me. I like that it was a little dramatic there. I liked that it was a little dramatic. Go ahead, Con Man.
Yeah, so take us through while you were at the Masters, more specifically this LIV and PGA thing. While you were there Thursday and Friday, are you eating pimento cheese sandwiches, drinking whatever fancy drinks they're selling, some pulled pork barbecue perhaps, and are you trying to listen to people talking, kind of the higher-ups, the big wigs, if you will, about what is going on with PGA and LIV? Because it feels like we're in year 10 of, hey, they're going to merge, and then boom, they don't because some BS. We heard about a board seat that it wasn't given to the PIF chairman or something along those lines. Is there something that's going to happen here? Because, I feel like all the majors is such a great reminder, hey, when all the best golfers in the world are playing against each other, it is electrifying, but we only get it, a few times a year, and that kind of stinks now.
It's a great question because honestly, I'm so relieved when these weeks roll around and I can take my brain off of the LIV and PGA Tour kind of civil war and I focus on a great championship. However, especially in person at Augusta, I mean, it's famous meeting spot for a lot of the Green Jackets, past champions, media people, executives of different companies, executives of tours, is under the big oak tree right next to the clubhouse. And I did spend a fair amount of time. It's funny that you asked that, just hanging around that spot, looking for people to talk to, get kind of up-to-date news on some of this and seeing who else is talking to each other. I was actually quite surprised. I believe it was on Friday to see the chairman of the Saudi Public Investment Fund, Yasser Al-Rumayyan, who's kind of the person that has headed up LIV Golf. He was standing up under the tree and talking to Scott O'Neill, who's the CEO of LIV Golf, and talking to another member of Augusta National as well. So just the fact that he was there is something that I don't think has happened in previous versions of the Masters. That being said, I have not heard good things about the status of the conversation between LIV Golf and the PGA Tour. The rejection of the recent proposal from LIV Golf makes sense to me in that I don't think there's a world where LIV Golf can continue in its current form and a deal be made because it like you said, it makes the most sense when all these guys are playing all together on the same courses in the same tournaments, and LIV continuing in its current form with 14 events would mean that we don't get that happening very often. So the PGA Tour, right or wrong, believes they're in a position where they can, they don't feel like they're in a position where they need to cave in to LIV's demands or Saudi's demands at this point. We'll see how that all plays out. From what I've heard about the status of the negotiation, I don't blame them for reaching that conclusion because, LIV continue, like I said, LIV continuing its current form and giving a board seat as well, where terms they determined to not be acceptable. And I don't know if that means a deal is off the table now, but we're getting into the late days and things have not trended in a good direction.
I will say if somebody invests $1.5 billion into a company, they're going to probably think they've earned a board seat. So that obviously not something that I think is a real part of the convo. I think it's all the other stuff that you mentioned there, the LIV season, all the other stuff. And I'm okay with the LIV season not happening anymore strictly because I don't see it anyways. So it would be something that didn't happen. It would be something that didn't happen, being removed from my life. That feels like an easy concession. Hopefully they're able to make it happen. We appreciate the hell out of you, Sully. Thank you so much. The founder of the No Laying Up podcast, also a scratch golfer. We haven't said that yet. The guy's a stick. Chris Sully Solomon. Thank you, buddy. Had to make a quick run down to the bus from the upper level. I'll tell you what, a little winded, a little tired, but thank God I got back in time to talk to Solly. Hey, him chit-chatting about Rory, obviously a big deal. Him saying that the Saudi Arabia guy was on the grounds and Augusta's a big deal. That's a big deal. Where's business get done, boys?
On the golf course.
They're probably golfing today. I think the way the Masters goes, especially for these high-level partners or whatever the case is, you kind of go and then you either golf, I think, the day after or 2 days after the Masters, so you could play the same course. It's like one of those types of things. So maybe they get a deal done at the Masters to bring everybody together, because watching DeChambeau and McIlroy, just the thought of even DeChambeau saying, I love the James Bond movies. I'll probably stay up late tonight and I'll wake up probably around 10:30. And then you got Rory McIlroy talking about how I'll treat it the same way I treated today, recover, I'll go to bed, I'll probably watch Zootopia with the daughter, and then I'll wake up early, get here 3.5 hours. They're like just two such contrasting styles of players. And DeChambeau is clearly in his prime right now. And it's like, we talk about wanting to see Brooks take on everybody, and Rombo, because Rombo was on there. This DeChambeau fella might be playing better golf than he's ever played. We remember as the long ball whacker guy. We know him as a YouTuber, but he had some chips and some hands throughout the evening. He chipped it. I mean, his long putt on 18 on Friday night to bring him, or Saturday night to bring him within two. It's like we're missing out on DeChambeau competing against all these people too. So we hope they figure it out. Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, is a man who walks a golf course and still shoots at 95.
No way.
Senior NFL insider for NFL Network, ladies and gentlemen, friend of the program, Ian Rapoport.
What's going on?
Rap, how you doing? I'm trying to get all these lights out of the back so it doesn't, shine in your face. But the lights are always shining whenever Ian Rapoport's around. Thank you, buddy. Hey, Rap, couple things we need to clear up here since big night out because we haven't been on. First of all, we love you. Second of all, TJ Watt. We talked about this early in the hour. We don't know what it means. Cohen said that he has heard that TJ wants more than Myles Garrett, which is like $4.8 million a year. And if you're TJ, I think that would certainly be a competition piece between Myles Garrett and yourself, which has obviously been defensive MVP, yada yada, sack, all that stuff for like the better part of the last decade here. What do you know about this situation? Deal not getting done between TJ and the Steelers, Ian? Is that a potential reality at this point?
Well, it's hard to imagine that's a potential reality because when the Steelers have wanted to sign a player and the Steelers have wanted to commit to a guy, generally they have got it done. Now, it's not always on the timeline we all want, right? Like, it's not always on the timeline of like right now where I could just hit send on the tweet and just kind of move on from there. A lot of times these deals happen right before training camp. Because remember, the Steelers have a policy of not negotiating into the season. So right before training camp is a time, and then right before the season is a time. Like there have been deals that have gotten done in Pittsburgh, I think like the Saturday night before the season. So there is time. Now, if TJ Watt wants to be paid more than Myles Garrett, I would say that makes sense. I mean, you could argue who's better. You could argue if you were fielding a team, who would you rather have? But you really can't argue that the statistics are that much different. I mean, there are two premium elite pass rushers, still in their prime, even though both are a little bit older than, the early 20s or whatever. I would imagine that's what he's shooting for. Will he get it? I don't know, because that's more of a decision like at some point in the process does he go, all right, I have enough and we're okay. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he's aiming for. And that's kind of what this offseason has been about because Micah Parsons is aiming for the same.
Well, the interesting thing here is Jimmy Haslam, yet again, is putting other teams' ownerships in a bind with wild contracts. Did it with Deshaun Watson, and I thought it was maybe like he was trying to big bank take little bank convo. Now with Myles Garrett, knowing that there's a bunch of defensive ends that need to be paid, like, all right, I'll pay him quarterback money, see if everybody else can keep up. We might suck. Hey, we might suck, but everybody else won't be able to keep up. We can ruin other people's teams, too. Let's talk about two deals that did get done recently. Go ahead, DB.
Yeah, two big deals. In the slot, specifically, Kyler Gordon out in Chicago and Jalen Petrie down in Houston. Both signed two pretty big deals. I didn't expect these type of deals to be done at this point in the game. Should we expect any more that are in the pipeline? And what do you know about the actual details of these deals?
First of all, these deals are related, right? So Petrie's interesting because he's more of a safety, but he's become like, I think it's like 66% in the slot or something. Yep. It's a lot, right? And so you could sort of call him whatever you want, and I called him a safety in my tweet, but he's really like an awesome nickel.
Slot.
Yeah, and I would say Kyler Gordon's kind of the same. So one gets done, and then if you're Kyler Gordon, you're fighting for this money, and again, really good money for a really good player. It's easier to say like, all right, this contract that I said I deserved, this guy who does similar to me, he got it. So like, I should be right there. And I think the Bears were kind of like, all right, that's where the market is. I would also say for the Bears, I mean, actually for both of these teams, it's like a really good draft pick, pretty high, who does everything right, is a good person, makes a ton of plays, and gets paid. Like, as an organization, these are the guys you are dying to pay. And, like, you can see the comments from Ryan Poles the last couple of weeks. Like, he has wanted to pay Kyler Gordon, and I'm happy that this deal got done for him.
D-But, do we want the insiders to start reporting them as nickel? Do we want that, or what do we want?
Good question, actually. These guys are football players, slot defenders. Derwin James is another guy who's a safety but played, majority of his snaps in the slot. A lot of guys, you just add value. I'm happy to see these guys finally getting paid like this. Kenny Moore is a guy. Jordan Lewis got paid in Dallas that reported that he was, the highest deal. Mm-hmm. So now to see Kyler and Jalen get their money. But these guys can move around. They can impact and help a football team. Tyrann Mathieu has done this for a long time. Jalen Ramsey. All these guys can move around and just add tremendous value when they can go in that. But slot defender, safety, they're great football players overall.
Yeah, but like, should we start building that brand a little bit here? Should whenever it gets reported by Rapoport say, hey, to whatever you want this to be called position, because I believe you play this position obviously amongst many other positions. It is a high. It's the nickel. You know, it's the safety, the secondary member that's coming in for the linebacker has to be able to tackle, has to be able to read, has to be able to play inside.
It needs a better name.
I mean,
it needs better branding.
It does. It does. I mean, they're slot defenders. And some guys are full-time players, so they're going to be on the field. Like I said, Derwin James is never going to come off the field. Petrie pretty much isn't going to come off the field. And then you have other guys who just come in and substitute and maybe play 70% of the snaps, depending on the team. Like a team like the Buffalo Bills with Terry Johnson, they play almost every snap in nickel. So, hey, leave AR on. It's a different year, all right? So they play every snap.
I saw that.
But this isn't the NFL that we came into. Now, you know, nickel and slot defenders are pretty much starters on the defensive side of the ball. You play with 5 DBs, you know, most of the time how the NFL has been.
That's what I'm saying, but we need a name for it.
I mean, that's like
colleges.
Defenders.
Like colleges call it like Star or Rover.
Star, yeah, that's like a Nick Saban thing.
What are they on the All-Pro list? Are they just slot?
Just slot, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Shit, I guess that's where we are. Slot defenders.
All right, slots. Hey, there's good slots out there getting paid.
So many
I'm happy for them. I am very, very happy that they're getting paid. Now, there's other stuff happening around the NFL. Bon Man, your question for Rap.
Yeah, Rap Sheet, other big news. Derek Carr, questionable now for this season with the shoulder injury. He might be done. Is there a chance the Saints now look to move up in the draft to kind of get a younger guy who kind of fit their cap space as well? Do you think that's a possibility, or do you think they're probably going to stay at 9 or even possibly get in on the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes?
All right, we'll hit the Rodgers one first. I would imagine if you're the Saints, first of all, this hurts them cap-wise, if only because it's $40 million allocated to a guy who may not end up playing for you, right? Like, there is a possibility that Derek Carr does not play this season. That is real. That is real. He may have surgery. He has a decision to make. That is all real.
What happened?
Yeah, and how long have we known, Rap?
Okay. This has been just being totally honest, this has been a difficult one for me to figure out. Like, I know the status of his shoulder now. He is currently deciding, seeking medical opinions, seeing if he needs to have surgery. I've heard varying views, reports, facts, whatever you want to call it, about when this actually happened. Was it something that he had been dealing with that worsened? Was it something that he hurt when he broke his left hand late in the season, whenever that was, and just, still is bothering him? Is it just wear and tear and just can't go forward? Like, just to be totally honest, like, there are a lot of questions that I don't really have right now. And I think the Saints, I believe, knew, but a lot of their players did not know. And so when this news happened, like, I think for a lot of people who either are with the Saints or are closest, we're kind of like, hold on, what? Like, wait, what? Like, that's how this news felt. And so, like, you talk about the impact on the draft, like, pretty real. Like, rarely do you get an injury like this that really does dramatically impact the draft. But if you're the Saints, like, if you were debating, do we take this guy at 9 or take him in the second round, like, might this make you move it forward? I think possibly it could.
Go ahead, AJ.
What about the Aaron Rodgers situation? You didn't really mention that too much. Like, is he a possibility? Is he in play here for Kellen Moore as a first-year head coach?
I meant to mention that, but then my brain got sidetracked. That happened.
That was on me because I said, "What happened? No. What happened? What happened?" Yeah,
team effort. If you're Aaron Rodgers and you have the option, and I believe it would be an option. He couldn't make a lot of money there, but I believe they could work something out if they wanted to. If you're Aaron Rodgers, would you rather join the Saints, who obviously do have a quarterback need, or join the Steelers? I think that's kind of where it is to me. Like, are the Saints? I think the Saints are going to be better than people believe if they do get a quarterback. But if you're Aaron Rodgers, doesn't the Steelers make more sense to you than the Saints do?
I don't
know. We're asking you.
Division's a lot better.
So Steelers definitely prideful city, great city. We were in it last week. We absolutely love the Pittsburgh area and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger
Division's
so
different.
incredibly
Yeah.
Yeah, division very different down there in the NFC South. And also, not to knock on anybody in the NFC South, but Saints fans, like if Aaron would come in and do good,
Oh,
you know,
my
like
gosh.
very pumped probably. And I think like him coming down there, probably very pumped all. You know what I mean?
Governor
Like,
Jeff Landry, his gator.
Governor Jeff Landry would be. I mean, like I think, you know, they celebrate down there too. You know, from what we've found out, that's a good. Like I don't know, interesting. I don't know if AJ would know. AJ asking you that question is probably the best part of this whole thing because AJ's trying to see what you know that he already knows in the back. But we will continue to keep an eye on all those situations. Let's talk about the NFL saying you ain't just going to be terrible at your job anymore and do it anymore. Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, Rap, we heard that 3 officials have been fired or I guess demoted to power conferences in what's been called an accountability crackdown. Do you know more about this situation? Should we expect more of this to happen leading up to the season, or did they just basically find 3 people and say, like, hey, you guys suck at your jobs, get the hell out and never come back?
I can't confirm the language that was used in these. Sorry, I got flies going on here. It's fine. I can't confirm the language, nor do I have knowledge of that. But, you know, this goes on a lot where the NFL grades these officials. And, like, a lot of times we don't – you know, the only way we can really tell how an official is graded is who gets to be in the playoffs. But I think this does happen. It's just we don't really hear about it. Like I'm not sure who reported this, but there's like a couple pretty good websites, Twitter accounts that follow the refs really, really closely. And sometimes like they're the only ones who notice. But there are officials who are just not cutting it. And sometimes they leave the business. Sometimes they get reassigned. So I noticed this. It was noteworthy, but I don't think it's that rare.
Interesting.
Rap Sheet, where are you? That's look like the most peaceful. Like first off, your audio sounds amazing. And where are you? Is that your house? New house?
No, I wish it was my house. No, I'm in Mississippi with my wife and our kids and her family. It's spring break, so I came down here for like 2 days to hang out, see all the relatives, eat some chicken and dumplings and some amazing food. And then I'm flying out this afternoon to get back to work.
Well, thank you for joining us live from Mississippi, Queen. That state is a beautiful one. You know, they love it down there.
I mean, right? Like, this is awesome. My kids have been fishing all day. It's great. It's great.
Oh, really? They learned that out of camp in the summer.
That's among the many things that help them grow as people. They do learn.
Oh, yeah. They learn more than just.
When is that summer camp that you kick your kids out of your house for 4 weeks or 8 weeks? I'm sorry.
12.
Not soon enough.
Come back. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Ian Rapoport.
Stat of the year.
We love Rap Sheet. Absolutely love. Something crashed in the back here. That's why I had to get up and move in the middle of the thing. So I apologize for that. What a first hour, boys. What a good conversation. I've been in 2 different spots. I'm going to head back up to the other set, I believe, for the next hour. But I feel like we got a lot of good info there out of Rap. He said the teammates, yeah, hell yeah.
They know.
The teammates had no idea about the shoulder. So Rap puts that tweet out. I assume a lot of. Oh, okay. All right. See you then.
Belle Sessions, who got here at 3 a.m. this morning, was the winner. Her ticket was pulled, and you thought to yourself immediately, what, Belle?
I knew I couldn't do it, and he was next to me, and he said that he could. So we're splitting it.
Okay, so Belle Sessions made the decision to talk to my man, Henry Silver, who'd been... Henry got here yesterday at 6 p.m. He's been waiting for this moment. Now, Henry, you told her that you could make it. Why do you think that's the case? Have you ever kicked a ball before?
I've kicked a ball before.
If you make it, you will both get $100,000. Where are you from, Henry?
I'm from Fishers, Indiana.
Who's your favorite NFL team?
The Colts.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Come on, bro. Hell yeah. To hell with the Falcons. That was rude. They didn't deserve that. I like that. Henry, 33 yards, $100,000 for you, $100,000 for her, $200,000 to hurricane relief, $400,000 on the line. Henry, are you ready?
Of course.
Have you ever said anything bad about kickers?
Of course.
Shut up. Let's go. Now, here in Athens, Rodgers, Georgia, it would be beautiful if $400,000 would be up for grabs. Why don't we double it because the Georgia Bulldogs? So, $800,000 kick right here, Henry. But what I want to let you know is you're not getting a second opportunity. I don't care if this entire place starts chanting for a second kick. One kick, 800,000 racks, 400,000 to Hurricane Relief, 400,000 to you two split, 200 grand each. Henry Silver from Indiana for Bell Sessions. Let's go, Henry. Oh my! Henry, come in, buddy. Come in. Let me see this, Henry. That was amazing. I mean, he walked in like Henry. Congratulations, Henry. Congratulations, Bell. Congratulations, Georgia. What a morning. College game day's the greatest. College football's amazing. Bell, you just won.
The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey,
What?
let's go.
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
You pink.
Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Welcome in hour 2 of the Pat McAfee Show. I'm AJ Hawk here in Indianapolis in the Thunderdome. Pat's in Sacramento. Back on set here with WWE.
Sports. Oh, yeah.
Look at you.
Boys, it is great to be back. I am in the Sacramento Kings Arena, and it is obviously getting prepared for a massive night on Netflix. I will be able to tell you the exact ins and outs of this particular arena by the time the show is over. I have been sprinting through it. There is a fantastic group of people, from the concessions to the production to the people that are hanging from the ceiling just moments ago. I had a chance to chat with them 2 to 3 minutes before they got kind of sent up there. So I feel like I know this city and this arena at a very, very high rate. But what I also do know is that AJ Hawk, you traveling to Indianapolis is such a cool thing. The boys get so jacked up over there. Talk about sports. Hour 2 here, AJ, should be a big one, brother.
Yeah, so we got Josh Pate joining us in about 13 minutes, and I don't know about the next couple guests. I don't want to, if there's nothing's confirmed, I don't want to throw anything out there, Pat.
What are you talking about?
I don't know if we have anybody else after Josh Pate. I'm not sure if we have anyone.
Oh, yeah. Alexander Ovechkin will join us, 1:30 Eastern.
Ovi.
Yeah, Ovi will be joining us at 1:30 Eastern to chit-chat, about just being the greatest goal scorer in the history of hockey. Now, the Great Chase is obviously something that has captivated the world throughout this season for the NHL. Now that that's been accomplished, all eyes are looking ahead to the playoffs, and this Capitals team can win another Lordo if they piece it together, which they have certainly been doing. There's Wayne Gretzky looking on at Alexander Ovechkin. I believe the FBI is represented, and Bettman, the commissioner of the NHL. Ovechkin's lady, I do believe, and family there celebrating it in this historical moment. But we'll get a chance to chit-chat with him, AJ, and I'm pretty pumped up about it, to be clear.
How could you not be pumped up about it? I mean, this guy's taken over the world. I do want to ask him if he had a celebration or a planned celebration. When he jumped and, kind of swan dive on the ice, I wonder if that had to just be organic in the moment, right?
It felt good for me at Boston Connor. I think that's one of the best celebrations I've seen because the entire team was involved. I think we chit-chatted about it immediately upon it happening. And I think that's kind of the hockey way, you know. Try to never be about one person, even though Ovechkin is a very confident lad and obviously understands who he is. And I assume he didn't love the fact that there was an ISO camera on him full time through a lot of these games because it is a team event. But just like in soccer, that type of slide, that's a welcoming to the entire team. Now, I would never want to be on the bottom of that. Never in a million years. But I love the celebration of choice, and I like that the entire team came out there and said, we love this guy, and we appreciate this guy, Con Man.
Yeah, awesome. And, like, you see all the clips of him before they go out. He's singing Bands of Make Her Dance, which is hilarious. I believe Juicy J was in the arena yesterday or this weekend for one of their games. But, yeah, I mean, especially when you look at what the Capitals have been. You know, this year they're great, but they weren't fantastic last year. And it feels like, especially when guys get to, you know, Alexander the Great's age, sometimes, you know, they can get moved or sometimes they can say, hey, I'm going to call it a career. But he kind of stuck with it. And they're unbelievable once again, going for another Lordo. It feels like kind of all the stars are aligning for the Capitals. And, you know, also hats off to the Islanders because I didn't realize this. I realized it after the fact. You know, they stopped the entire game in the middle of it. They rolled out the carpet and then, you know, they had to keep going. You know, this wasn't just a, hey, once the game, you know, ends, we can do the whole ceremony. The Islanders, you know, they got on the ice, they stood, they sat on the bench, they acknowledged the greatness of this entire thing. But I mean, what an honor it is for to speak with Alexander Ovechkin. This is kind of like I won't say LeBron-esque conversation, but we're talking about Alexander the Great here. He's the greatest goal scorer in the history of hockey. So I am jacked up for this. And he lays the wood. Cannot forget that. He is not afraid to throw the body around.
Yeah, he's a tough guy too, not just a goal scorer. And shout out to the ESPN NHL relationship for making this possible. Cannot wait to talk to Ovi, Ty Schmidt.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to let you know, I watched Big Night Out on Hulu last night.
Hell yeah.
Okay?
Incredible.
There is a moment where you're yelling at the sumo wrestlers that I know you meant it, and you were like, what the hell are we doing there?
I know what you're talking about.
You and your guy, Boston Connor, should feel very proud of yourselves for what you guys did at that thing. I just want to let you know that.
Thank you.
I want to let you know that.
Thank you very much, man. No, it's going back and watching everything. It's still surreal to think that we were doing that the other night. You know, like the show, sure, but like that's what, you know, like a lot of people saying like, holy shit, like Pat actually flew in 2 600-pound sumo wrestlers from Japan, and these guys were on the stage, and you know, getting to do it with Connor and Cole up there, and then obviously, you know, like Shane Gillis not really being able to hear us, kind of being able to hear us, was just the cherry on top. Like it was just, it's so cool, man, and going back and being able to watch it and kind of relive it, like that. What a fun night that was. Like, thank you so much for letting us be a part of that. It was so cool.
Yeah, no problem. Ichi just got a win there for, you know, and to be clear, I might be getting into sumo wrestling. Okay, I might become a sumo wrestling fan. I might try to figure out if there's sumo wrestling leagues that I can watch. That man right there, Andrew, in the all-black suit, who was the translator for Shane to the sumo wrestlers, he was the knower of sumo, of all things for us throughout the entire day. He runs USA Sumo, but those three guys right there need to be commentating more sumo wrestling. And we will certainly be trying to make that happen. AJ, I enjoy. How about the crowd? Okay, slowly getting behind their guys, like slowly, not, and by slowly I mean within a matter of minutes. But it's like whenever they would pump fake each other, like the mental war games would continue to happen. To hear the fans, instead of boo them out of the arena, the complete opposite. Yeah, like excited for Hiroki and excited for Ichi. I felt like I hope more people watch sumo wrestling. We need more sumo wrestling in our lives, and those guys are so large, so big.
Man.
Ichi's so big.
So big. So I was a Hiroki guy. I'm cheering for Hiroki, you know, at Big Night Out, and I'm sitting here. These guys, first off, they're showmen as well. Like, they know, like this is, they're competing at the highest level, but they are performing at the same time. And you're right. Every time they kept pump faking us, anyone else would have any crowd would have got pissed and started booing, but these guys it was an honorable thing.
Ty did.
It definitely, Ty definitely was pretty upset with these guys a few times, I think. But then when Shane not exactly knowing what was going on, this whole seg really hit well with me. I really love this whole situation.
I did not expect it to be as long as it did. Sumo wrestling matches we hooked up. I think 10, 15 seconds, best of 3. Let's see how it goes. But Ichi and Hiroki brought out the best in each other. We're currently suspended from TikTok because I do believe it was Mr. Hiroki's, bag off that.
It's right nut.
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you're
Can't be doing
about,
that.
man.
But to be clear, when you talk about showmen, I would book Hiroki for anything.
Oh my God.
Anybody that's thinking about booking anything, I had no idea what to expect. Obviously, they don't speak any English, so a lot of bowing. They could kind of understand what I was trying to do. There's some behind the scenes clips of me trying to move these dudes in catering, my actual head on their chest, and getting a chance to chit chat with them was fantastic. But I had no idea what to expect from these guys. Hard to read them. Hard to read them whenever you're talking to Andrew, and Andrew is so electrifying.
Got a lot of moxie.
Yeah,
they need to do a Netflix Drive to Survive on him. Just him.
Zany
He did a full
and the
character
sumo.
flip too, Pat.
What's that, pal?
He did a full character flip too, because in rehearsal he was dead serious. It felt dead serious, and then during the actual show you could see him in the background smiling and laughing and shit. I did not expect his character flip, which made it so much better for the show.
Oh yeah.
I think so too. Yeah, there's clips now that we have on the Hulu version, which Foxy didn't sleep for 2 days. To get.
Foxy.
Way to go,
Great
Foxy.
job.
Hell yeah, boys. It was a great show.
Big night out. You got to search for it on Hulu, but there's behind the scenes kind of woven through the entirety of the show, and it showcases some parts and the rehearsals for the sumo wrestling with Shane and this guy, just Andrew from USA Sumo, who loves sumo wrestling and knows everything about it, loves it.
Lives it. Yeah, loves it. His one true love, maybe.
Legitimately, this guy, I hope that everything that exists has a supporter and a believer and a lover and a knower of it, like Andrew does of sumo wrestling.
Amen.
I doubt it.
Him speaking Japanese to these guys, just so smooth, just in the middle of it, bang, 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 completely different language. And then he'll turn a little bit of moxie with us. Then he's back into it. I get your drift. It's do you? I don't know if that's the message I want to send. Yeah, it is the message you want to send. This guy was just dialing it all up. And then he told Shane, what did he tell Shane? 20 years of training in 20 minutes or something like that?
2 minutes.
How many years?
2 years. He said, Ray, we're going to give you 2 years of sumo in 2 minutes, maybe 30 seconds, because I don't know how much you're going to retain.
Yeah, and Shane was like, I'm not a ref, dude. I'm trying. So him trying to learn, it was spectacular. And I thought you guys did a great job. And I hope sumo wrestling is something that more people will give it a go. AJ, I think they need NFL teams, and we saw it when Micah and CJ traveled over to Japan with Bleacher Report, and they did some clips with some sumo wrestlers. And we saw the Micah one, and it's Ichi, I think, could play tackle.
Yeah.
I think Ichi could play tackle. He's the one in the red here. He's 540 pounds build, 550, 540. Maybe D tackle, nose tackle, whatever the case. I mean, these dudes are.
Think of the run blocking. If you had if you had 5 of these guys on your offensive line, Pat, think of the run blocking these guys do. I don't know if they're kick sliding and doing much pass protection. You got to teach them that, but man, they could drive block all day long.
I don't know how much they're driving downfield, and maybe they make those gaps a little
They can
tighter.
bend. They got great hips. They got great hips.
I mean,
no big guys like that you usually can't bend that.
This is how you stop the tush push.
Bingo.
This is it.
Okay.
You want to stop the tush push? Bring in the tush push specialist. Who's that? A sumo wrestler. Have them line up right over to the center.
Yeah.
And just say, hey, don't move. Put both hands down. Don't move. They won't. So much more nimble than I thought.
Yeah.
Is that how you guys felt?
Oh yeah, Hiroki. When Hiroki came out for his entrance, he went side shuffle.
He was like
up.
Elvis. Yeah. He reminded me of Elvis. He took his robe off. He was kicking his leg.
Yeah,
he was crazy.
He was pumping up his entire side of the arena while he was going down the catwalk. It was incredible.
Yeah, I need a little more fight here at the end from Hiroki.
Yeah,
He was exhausted.
He's throwing his hips
They were out there for 30 minutes.
Look, it was 250 on the line, all right? On my side, on our side.
The
all right?
humps here, though.
That's where we were, right? Yeah, those humps.
Here come the humps.
Here it is. Throw those hips.
That's when he knew he had him.
Yeah,
he knew he had him.
Hiroki also felt his nut fall out of his Moachi, so he was like, all right, I got to just tuck this thing in and get out of here.
Big thank you to Ichi and Hiroki for showcasing Sumo. Shout out to Sidney Crosby. That guy might be the next quarterback. The Saints need a quarterback. You know, obviously, he's never going to leave the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But Sidney Crosby, who said got years to come with the Pittsburgh Penguins, I heard it right. He was right here. He was 2 feet in front of me whenever he said it. He might be the next quarterback in the NFL that the world needs to see. This guy, for $1 million, steps up, spins that thing right into it. Now, the night before, obviously, they beat the Chicago Blackhawks 5-0. Boy, they're a terrible hockey team.
Yeah.
Boy.
Blackhawks are? Really?
Yeah. It's not looking good.
Bad. We were there, and I'm only saying this because we were there. I think the Pens, Connor, when we got there, we sat down. The Pens kept possession of the puck without the Blackhawks touching it. This was not a power play. This was 5-on-5 or whatever. 2.5 minutes, I think. Wasn't it like 2.5 minutes?
It was 3 different shifts. So like they had the puck with the first unit that was out there, kept the puck down there. They changed. They go off, still have the puck, and then again they continue to cycle the puck. Puck's on that. You know, everyone knows the terms. But then even that line changed. Like it was insane. The Chicago Blackhawks. I mean, for a team that's in a big market like that, the NHL is going to have to rig the next 5 drafts for them to be good. Because boy, they stink out loud right now.
It was tough to watch, and we had great seats. Shout out to PPG Paints Arena. The seats that we were in were awesome. We were right on the ice after getting a chance to watch Skeens over at PNC Park. Nonetheless, Sidney Crosby still doing it on the ice, having one of his best years. Now, granted, they're not making the playoffs this year, but he talked about how we're going to do that in the future. Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang comes out. Those guys have been teammates longer than anybody else. The 3 longest tenured teammates in the history of professional sports, those 3.
Nice.
And for what they've done with the Pittsburgh Penguins and everything. So when they come out, and Tanger tells me the night before after they just beat the hell out of the Blackhawks, I mean, just smashed the Chicago Blackhawks. I mean, there wasn't even a question about it. Tanger goes, Sidney Crosby will throw and Sidney Crosby will make it. And I'm like, you don't even know how far it is. He goes, it doesn't matter. Sidney Crosby will make it. That's just how it goes. So when I walk up to Sid the night before and I go, hey, would you want to throw for $1 million or whatever? And he goes, yeah, I'll throw. Wasn't even a question. I think Tanger probably told him. And I was like, do you want to know what it is? He goes, it's going to be in the arena, right? And I'm like, yes. He goes, okay. I go, you'll be throwing like 25-yard throw, probably 25, 30-yard throw. 10-by-10 hoop will be hanging from a stage about 10 feet high, 15 feet high or whatever. And he goes, okay, yeah, I'll do it. I go, how do you feel about it? He goes, I'll figure it out. And then whenever he walks out there, grabs that ball, and I was standing next to him, it's like, this guy's going to make it. Then there's a still shot of him throwing like this. His form's perfect somehow. I have no idea how this guy's form. He's a hockey player. Hockey players are like wrestlers, when it comes to ball sports. It was wild to watch, and I guess that's the most Sidney Crosby thing of all time, they say. So shout out to Sid, shout out to Ben, shout out to Evgeny Malkin, shout out to Chris Letang, shout out to Paul Skeens. There it is. Look at him coming up over the top. Jeez. This guy.
Perfect.
Tight elbow.
It's not an easy throw either. If you were in the arena, like, that is not an easy toss.
I saw a couple of people say it looks easy or whatever. It's like, no.
It's not.
No, that's not. Especially with the people that were just sitting on top of you, hammered drunk at that point, 3 hours into a show. Paul Skeens was there. Shout out to Paul Skeens. We love Paul Skeens.
Hey, baby, Paul.
Love Paul Skeens. He had a sweet David Allen jacket on. That's a DA camo jacket that Paul Skeens has on. Paul Skeens didn't make it because Paul Skeens wanted to let people know that it might look like it's going in, but then it's going to miss. That's his pitches, baby. You think you got it, you don't. He's a baseball thrower, not a football thrower. He missed 2 of those things, and then Sid makes it. But to the Pittsburgh Pirates, more specifically, Andrew McCutchen, who put a tweet out that said he wasn't invited. It was like, I think you were, at least from our end, you were. And if it was a miscommunication, I should have followed up more. But McCutchen tweeted that he wasn't invited. We gave an entire suite to the Pittsburgh Pirates, legitimately, because we understood it was middle of the season. So that's probably on us for not following up more. But McCutch We love you, buddy. Thank you for everything you've done for Pittsburgh. Would have loved to have you in the next time, whenever we do it, hopefully, and everything else like that. Like Wiz being there, Snoop being there, just it was
Jelly.
Big jelly.
Jelly Roll. Holy shit! Singing Renegade to start this entire thing. It was like,
come on,
Ernest. Yeah, I mean. It was an awesome night, and I can't thank everybody enough that came through. How about whenever, Wiz comes out to Black and Yellow, place goes bananas, shout out to DJ Bonix. Then he goes, hey, I think I got something pretty cool for you guys. And then all of a sudden Snoop Dogg walks on. The place went absolutely apeshit. Snoop Dogg resonates with everybody, literally everybody. 85-year-old Yinzers, all the way down to, I think, probably 10-year-olds know who Snoop Dogg is. So the fact that he came, Wiz came through, just everybody. Iceberg, obviously, representing. And then Shane Gillis, celebrity officiating a sumo wrestling match. Just awesome night. Can't thank everybody enough. And everybody that came, the crowd made that place electrifying for 3+ hours. A lot of money, obviously, given away. Shout out to Aaron and Mara. I believe are their names, Philadelphia Eagles fans.
Oh, yeah, Philly fans.
Who won $2 million at the end of the night from the Random Money Maker. Great ending. Just like, everybody together. And then money donated to charity. Shout out to the acts that said, I don't want money. Shout out to Shane and Jelly Roll, who actually paid to actually come do this show because they're donating money to local charities.
O's is electric.
O's the Mentalist.
Main event, Jay
came
Uso.
through.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Parker.
Please, forgot about Jay Uso. Did you lose me there for a second?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Good now.
All right.
You're good.
You're good. Yeah.
I was flexing over here, I'm getting these muscles, I'm getting back in shape. I feel like I might have been too electric. Talking about the show could potentially be doing that through the microphone. But to everybody that participated and was part of this, including the WWE people that helped put this together, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, this weekend there was a big storyline around college football that I think we were potentially staring down without realizing we were staring down. This particular thing happens in professional sports, happens in the NFL, but for the first time in college football, it's happened in a massive way. It includes millions of dollars. It includes a star quarterback. It includes a team that was in the college football playoff last year. And ladies and gentlemen, to break it all down, from Pate State, Josh Pate.
Yay, Josh!
Yeah. How are you, man?
I'm happy to be here. Yeah, just under the wrong circumstances. I saw you in a soup kitchen like 15 minutes ago. Are you back on set?
Yeah, dude, there's been some things going on. There's a microphone thing. There's another thing, but the people here figured it out quicker than ever. I probably ruined it, Josh. It was probably on me. But you're right. It wasn't a soup kitchen. It was certainly a very nice place, and I will certainly return to that. Now, Josh, this weekend was a crazy situation for college football. I have been very fortunate and lucky to be a part of the college football landscape for the last few years, baptized with College Game Day into the biggest moments, the biggest traditions, and probably the most hardcore fans every single week. Very lucky to have done as such. Growing up in Pittsburgh, obviously not the biggest college football place on earth. Whenever this NIL thing started happening, it was very evident there was one worry. It's going to ruin the game. It's going to ruin the sport. It's going to ruin what college football is as a whole. This past weekend, with Nico Iamaleava, quarterback for the University of Tennessee, holding out of spring ball and basically saying, I want a new contract before I come back. This is the first time this has happened. Everybody fears, I assume, that this is going to happen a lot. And is this one of the things that everybody was worried about potentially being the downfall of college football, Mr. Pate?
Yeah. I mean, you sit next to a guy every Saturday morning who just got out of this business and into the media business and warned about all this. But notice, whether it's Nick Saban, whether it's Lanning or Ryan Day or Steve Sarkisian, whoever, I've not heard any of them say, man, I'm worried about NIL ruining this sport. What they've said is, I'm worried about zero structure ruining this sport, like zero guardrails. No one knows what's legal. I was down in Athens 2 weeks ago. Kirby Smart said, you know what my wish is? My wish is when I'm in spring practice to know who's going to be on my roster in the fall. Like I've already disillusioned myself to all the other stuff. I just kind of want to know who's on our team. But here's the part that sucks. Okay. So Nico Iamaleava is the face of all this, right? And then you get down to the nuts and bolts of the story, and it's not Nico Iamaleava really representing himself. It's people representing him. Now, when you guys talk about the NFL, that means a certified agent. They don't even know what the word certification means in college football. I can go represent someone today. My cousin can go represent someone today. And they're the least equipped people on planet Earth to do it. But yet, because they happen to share the last name or they happen to have grown up in the same cul-de-sac, they're actually going to collectives before the playoffs saying, hey, my client got you to the playoff. We want to renegotiate now. And then you're in the middle of spring. Hey, we want to renegotiate now. And I'm telling you, Pat, this thing got made public because of Nico. Dozens of other examples of this going on, including with other playoff teams this past cycle. And so the big fear for college football, to me, has always been the slow erosion of what really makes it great. Because, like, you're out on the road every Saturday, so you feel this stuff emanating from campuses, or campi, which is the plural of camp.
Nice.
It is.
Hey, man, good work.
There's a different layer, like several layers, pageantry, tradition, but at the very core, there's something about that power T. As infantile, as rainbow and unicorn as that sounds, it means something to those folks. And the big fear is it doesn't mean as much to the players anymore one day as it does to me. And that's kind of what makes me check out a little bit. You've got to have that stuff, man. You've got to have that, or else you don't really have college football as you and I have known it our whole lives.
Yeah, and I think the turnover, obviously, of teams every single year. I mean, the higher quarterback situation won the Ohio State Buckeyes a national championship with Will Howard. I mean, you can go through a lot of the teams where the NIL actually helped them and made their school bigger and better. But the thought of potentially, everybody leaving and everybody disrespecting a brand is certainly one that will piss off the old college football heads. I'm so torn on it all, Pete. I don't understand it. I don't know how there isn't any guardrails. I don't know how this got passed without there being any kind of, hey, this is how it has to be run, though. So you're saying there's no certified agents that have to kind of come in there. There's no actual contracts either, because guys are, signing like 2 times in the same year with different people. I mean, so what is real, I guess, in all of it at this point, Pete, and how does it get fixed?
All right, let me tell you what's real. What's real is for a long time, college football was great and it was really profitable. And when things are going good, that's when you let your guard down. That's when anyone can walk in and put their hands on the wheel. And so this is not a months or years long problem that's been brewing. It's been decades in the making. And you had really piss poor leadership. You had those bureaucratic academic types that climb the ladder of academia, or this also exists in the federal government, people who don't really have the talent to do something themselves. So they kind of get in charge of something else someone else built, and they're not really equipped to do it, okay? So 10, 20 years ago, they had an opportunity. The NCAA, university presidents, don't let them escape culpability. They had the opportunity to create a world where NIL, as it really should be stated, was legal. They didn't, man. They dug their heels in and they just kicked the can down the road. And then you get to a point where your rules aren't enforceable. They don't stand up against, the law and stuff like that. So then judges come in and just whack you with their gavel. And so you get to this world where, dude, over the span of like 24 months a few years ago, coaches just got the NIL and portal dropped in their lap. And they're being asked, hey, cast a vision, like build a program for the next 5-7 years. And they're like, we don't even know what's legal. We don't even know what we're able to do. They're still saying that. They don't even know what's legal this fall. We don't even know what the structure of the playoffs is going to be this fall, by the way. So long story short, lack of leadership created a big vacuum, and you've got a mess now, and it's up to your Greg Sankeys and your Tony Petittis, but also league presidents and university presidents to probably get Congress to pull some levers to help them. I'm the last dude who ever wanted federal intervention in college athletics, but I've grown in more and more convinced that given the state of affairs, that's probably your best shot to get a set of rules that are actually enforceable.
Yeah, I concur with you. I think they need some sort of something, because if not, how do you ever have a season? Like, I'm dealing with it with West Virginia right now because Rich Rodriguez is obviously back. We're trying to get he's trying to bring his guys in and do it all. So I've been paying close attention to it all. That first transfer portal, obviously in December, whatever, middle college football playoffs that it could have been. You could bring a guy in then, pay him, have to pay him because that's a deal. And then they can leave in April. There's another transfer portal coming in April, and they literally didn't even play a season. They just did the off season. And then the same exact thing They got to figure it out, Josh. They got to figure it out. Okay, let's go back to Nico. Diggs has the last question for you here, pal.
Yeah, Pate, do we have any idea where Nico is going to go? I know SEC bylaws, if you transfer in the spring, you cannot go to an SEC school and be eligible to play that season, so it's going to be somewhere outside the SEC. I don't know if this was a screenshot or an altered screenshot. Saw 247 crystal ball, maybe saying UNC. Is there a chance he goes and partners up with Bill Belichick?
Well, first, Tone, don't just assume because something's written as a bylaw that it's enforceable. That's the first thing I'd say. The second thing is, yeah, I've heard the North Carolina thing. I've heard Tulane. To be honest with you, it makes me feel gross. This entire time of year it makes me feel gross. Yeah. So I kind of sit back and let the other guys break the news. But here's the question. Is he the bad guy wherever he goes? Like, it's my opinion, the people who screwed this up for him, his representation, probably should do the first dignified thing they've done and step up and take the arrows for him. And fess up, hey, it's us, man. We screwed it up. He was just trying to play. We're the ones who got him into this mess. Because right now he goes to Tulane. He goes wherever he goes. He's like a heel, man. He's treated like a legit bad guy within college football. And yes, he's a legal adult. Like, yes, he bears some responsibility. Dude, he's not the one who got himself into this mess.
Yeah, if he goes to UNC, that'd be a wild move by old Bill and Lombo.
Yeah.
Welcome to college football. Here we are. Go ahead, Connor.
No, just the entire thing. But you would assume with how big the Big Ten kind of rolls, maybe he goes over to Ohio State. Who says that Ohio State doesn't just play the transfer portal game?
Is Ryan Day the one behind all this right now? So who do you? So you talk about the representation. You talk about the representation. So they're talking to people. They obviously know that there's that amount of money somewhere else. Is that what we're all assuming?
I don't think they do. That's the problem. A legit agent would. I think they just decided, oh man, we can leverage. None of these college programs actually talk to each other behind the scenes. They're all idiots. So we can just play them for fools, and we can just tell Tennessee we got $4 million on the table somewhere else. And Heupel's like, you don't. I know you don't. Now here's a hot rumor. I'm gonna give you the hot rumor. Okay, I have not confirmed it.
Yes.
Rumor.
Allegedly. Rumors.
Allegedly. It's all caps word these days around here. Allegedly. Certain friend of the program out on the West Coast, maybe up near Eugene, may have sent up a flare to let Tennessee know that this was happening behind the scenes. Imagine that. Other head coaches sending up the flare to let their fellow peers know there's some shadiness going on behind the scenes here. Might they be looking out for each other's best interest for a change?
Wow.
Allegedly.
Pretty shady.
Well, I think the coaches now. Who knows if that's real or not? I like a good rumor, and I assume that'll get an answer or a non-answer. But I like the fact that the coaches are probably a part of feeling ownership and having to get some guidelines around this entire thing too. It's like, hey, there's always going to be the haves and have-nots whenever it comes to money. Ohio State's always going to be loaded. Penn State now we know is always going to be loaded. But at least if we could have some sort of you scratch my back, I scratch your type rules, we can all kind of keep this thing going ahead. We appreciate the hell out of your coverage and your time today, my brother.
Appreciate it, brother. Hey, tell Ovechkin I said hey, or tell Alex I said hey.
Oh, you call him Alex?
First name.
Well, that's how I've referred to him. He'll understand. Just let him know. He'll understand.
Do you do full dap up, or is it a handshake? Where are you at with him, or a hug? Is it a hug with you and him?
It's mainly been a head nod from me, and then he just walks on by because he has no clue who I am. It's been that sort of vibe.
Oh, one of these
Yeah.
in a hotel. Today. Got it. Yeah, he's Josh Pate. Thank you.
Yeah, Josh.
Sounds like there needs to be guardrails, AJ.
Yeah.
Sounds like that's what everybody's saying.
Sounds like you better know who's speaking for you too. Like if you're a player, like anybody could say they're speaking for you, right? And go to other teams. Can't they, if you don't have any like official people?
What do you think, D-Bud, of the whole entire situation? I think somebody in his team probably heard from some team, like, hey, we have this amount of money, or there's this amount of money on the table for somebody, and maybe it's a Carson Beck deal that he heard about and thought, if Carson Beck's getting that, I deserve more. But somebody on the team heard it, then they pitch it, you think? Or how do you think that kind of comes to be the decision?
Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, I hated the whole, like you said, I've been talking about the whole non-guardrails and this coming up during the playoffs, even potentially. But yeah, I think as you see another guy get a deal or getting paid that you think you're either on that level or higher, and then you go to your people and say, I want that, or they come to you and say, hey, you should be be getting this. You know how it is when you're in college or you're going to a different level and the people around you think they have all the answers. But at the end of the day, I think this is an example because, you know, he may go and be the bad guy, but whatever. If he goes and plays well, gets drafted, it all works out, nobody cares. But it does fall on you, you know, as the athlete, as the person, as the quarterback, as the cornerback, whatever you are, ultimately it falls on you. You got to take that responsibility, and hopefully he figures it out. And it all works out for him and all the other parties involved.
And like Dan Lanning, my bad.
Go ahead, Connor. No,
Even like
go ahead.
with Oregon and Dan Lanning, like I feel like there hasn't really been a line. And if what he says is true, and who knows, again, he said it was a rumor, but like if Dan Lanning and other coaches are even saying like, okay, now we're going too far. Like if we are hearing from, you know, representation from a player where that team doesn't know that this is happening, like the amount of shady behind the scenes stuff that happens in college football and has happened for years.
Yeah.
But for it to get to a point where the coach who might be benefiting, like we're talking about Oregon getting Nico, like Nico's unbelievable. We sung his praises after the Ohio State playoff game. Like he's a tough son of a bitch. He makes all the throws. He can move. He's awesome. And for the team that would possibly be getting him, that needs a quarterback, allegedly might need a quarterback, depending on who they still have, but who just lost, you know, Dylan Gabriel, who could possibly, you know, get a player like Nico to get them over the hump. For that team to be like, okay, we can't go this far. Like, hey, we want to win a national championship. We would love it to have a guy like this, but even this feels, you know, dark and kind of messed up in the sense of like, hey, we're screwing over another school so bad here that even that says a lot about the situation.
Well, I think every coach knows that it would probably happen to them too. You know? You know, that's like a hey, we have to have some sort of like if you're going to out recruit somebody, outpay somebody, like that's I think fair game. But if it's like this type of stuff taking place, especially when it comes to Nico, I thought Nico was a dog. You know, against Ohio State, he got up like a lot, cracked 2 helmets. That 2 helmets get cracked because it was so cold, and then he was getting hit so hard. So him getting up, standing through all that, I had massive respect for. Now he's just like, I see Carson Beck get $3 million. I don't know if we're playing the same game anymore. And then Heupel goes, bet, I'll see you later. And he hits the transfer portal. Where does he end up? If it's UNC, like I guess is being reported. I didn't know that was being rumored out there. Tone, is that real? Tennessee is moving. Tennessee coach. Okay, Iamaleava missed meetings. Okay, so Tone, where were you hearing UNC?
I saw a screenshot. So 247 Sports does a like when someone's in the transfer portal, they do a crystal ball of where they're going to go, and I saw a screenshot of it on there saying UNC. Now, I don't know if that was doctored. I saw it during the break, but that was the place where I saw it.
No.
And it makes sense because, you know, they're
not paying them.
They potentially need a quarterback.
Can you sign incentive deals? Can you get incentive-laden, like, NIL deals? Because there's no way they're going to give him $2.5 million off the
You
jump.
can do anything as long as the Trinity clears it. There.
Who?
Be good.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I've heard. Yeah, right? Isn't it kind of like because they said it'll be maxed out, everything will be maxed. You know, like basically that's what had to happen, right? If we listen to what Lombardi was saying and Belichick was saying leading up, it's like, yeah, there were certain things. And if we knew that was possible, we felt like we could compete, you know, we'll kind of do our thing. Did you hear about their spring practice? I read about that.
I did.
A little bit. Was it not spring game, not a spring practice, kind of in between? They don't really know.
Showcase?
Yeah.
It was a pro showcase, I think. Yeah, D-But, did you see what happened? I guess Bill wasn't doing a lot on me.
I thought Bill
guess you wasn't doing a lot on me.
They thought Bill was going to do a halftime performance, and he didn't do that, so they were disappointed.
I don't know.
Well, these players got no numbers on. We don't know who's.
He
didn't talk to us. He walked off the field.
They wanted Bill to take the mic like for the PA over the whole crowd and thank everybody for coming. I don't know how many people. Was it sold out? Was there 80,000 people there? I didn't.
Tom Curran is grinning like the butcher's dog. Like, I told you, Chapel Hill. This is Bill, baby. But I mean, they did say in one of those articles that, you know, maybe the mic'd up Belichick will give a little bit more into the entire thing. We saw him getting mic'd up. It would be
like an in-house production that they were doing.
Yeah, exactly. So if like you got some, you know, college Belichick clips coming out, that would be sweet too.
The guy also ripped on Lombo's playlist and basically said like, Jesus Christ,
right.
He was putting everybody to sleep playing Springsteen. You know, what are you doing, Lombo? Let's get some bops pops in here.
Come on, Michael.
Yeah,
Uncalled
Van
for.
Halen, I think,
Yeah.
and Springsteen. I think
Yeah.
the players weren't excited, and neither were we, is what the guy said. Players weren't jacked up about the music, and neither were we. They got a win down there. I guess getting a quarterback would be good. On the complete flip side of that, I think Rich Rodriguez for our spring showcase was actually in the crowd letting fans call plays.
Hell yeah.
So
That's
a little bit different. A little bit different operation out of those two. Who has the money at this state? I guess Ohio State would be. Do you guys have a quarterback at Ohio State?
Yeah, they have like a legit QB battle going on. Both guys look good. Even the third guy, young kid that just graduated high school, came in the spring game and threw a touchdown and played pretty well.
Because it's hard for me to get upset about the whole NIL destroying the sport thing, because Vanderbilt loves it. You know, Diego goes in there, turns their entire thing around. Oregon enjoyed it because Dylan Gabriel went in there. They had an undefeated year or whatever until they didn't in the Rose Bowl. Ohio State loves it. They got Will Howard in there.
Penn
Just
State.
like the Penn State obviously is going to use it more than anybody else going forward. And I don't think anybody's ready for that. Penn State is about to go. I don't know if they have Uncle Phil at Oregon type money at Penn State, but it feels like that's how they're operating. So like when something like this pops up, and Michigan, so much money. They got
they got the
Kukaldi, but they got Ellison jumping in too, the richest guy.
Yeah.
The interesting
I'm trying to recruit billionaires to West Virginia, by the way. I'm trying to recruit billionaires to adopt West Virginia. But let's say this, you know, we've heard Brandon Bean talk about how if there's a rumor on the internet about a player being disgruntled or a team being disgruntled with a guy, they'll like, go ahead and snoop around. Hey, is there anything open? You guys want to make a move? Boom. They get Stephon Diggs up there. I wonder for colleges, you hear something about Nico going around. Do they start snooping around with like the friends and family?
Yes.
And they say, hey, there's a chance that this is available if you're able to do that. Then whenever he gets into the transfer portal, it's already a done deal. How long do you have to remain in the transfer portal? Can you hop in there for half a second and then hop right out of there? Is there a 24-hour period? Is there a grace period? I don't think I fully understand it, but all those schools hear that Nico's available, then they're just immediately calling all their boosters. That's what they're doing, AJ? Is that how that works?
Trying to secure enough. Do they keep, like, how much do you have, like, in a slush fund for NIL in a situation like this when a quarterback might become available at a time that you wouldn't think he would? Like, I don't know. Or they got to go instantly get some donors to promise a couple mil so you bring them in. I don't know.
And these coaches, I feel
Got to hit the phones. Got to hit the phones, they're thinking.
Be terrible.
And once the Nico news came out, I know Pate talked about the smoke signal, but I found it interesting. Mario Cristobal down in Miami, he kind of came out kind of like, yeah, this is kind of how we're going to start doing things. Because as coaches, even though you're competing for these players, you do want some type of standard or set some type of precedent. Like, hey, if you try to opt out mid-season or in the middle of your deal or something like that, then maybe it will be tough for you to find a spot. But ultimately, we know it comes down to winning.
Yeah,
if you can get a guy that can come in and help you win. You look at all the top quarterbacks in the last however many years, they've been transferred. So once again, hopefully it all works out for the players.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, greatness has arrived. Now, granted, his nickname had the word great in it for a very long time. He has showcased that he has been great for a very long time in the NHL, I assume, throughout his entire life. Ladies and gentlemen, he'll be remembered as the greatest goal scorer in the history of the NHL. From the Washington Capitals, Stanley Cup champion, ladies and gentlemen, Alexander Ovechkin.
What's up, guys?
OV, thank you so much for taking time to join us. We are massive fans of yours, brother.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. All the boys
no
watching it
problem.
right now, so let me introduce to everybody.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, I like that.
Big Mac, Roy Z, Doobie, Match,
Hey, what up,
LT,
boys?
Little Kid Leno.
Hey, little kid.
Tom Wilson.
You son of a bitch! Tom Wilson.
They call you son of a
we're big fans of yours.
bitch. Hey, we have another guy. What's up? Yeah, what's up, guys? Jesus. Hey, guys. Frankenstein. Big Al.
Hey, what's up, son? Big Al, what up?
Yeah. Bull.
What about the pilot?
What's up, Bull?
Ratty.
Oh, good. Good hair,
Doggy.
good hair. Hey, doggy.
Captain America, John Carlson, right here.
Yeah. USA.
They're screaming USA. What about Canada? What about Canada?
Go Canada. Go Canada.
Okay. And always on his phone, businessman Lars Eller.
Lord. Hey, what's up, businessman? Good to see you, handsome.
The boys.
Moses Lewis. And
Oh, that's the one.
Here we go, boys.
What's up, dude?
What's up,
Good
guys?
thumbs up
What's
there.
up, guys?
Hey, Ovi, thank you for introducing us to your team. You guys are really good. You guys are a really good team this year. Let's talk about your team. This year has been a lot of focus on you. With what you just did there, where you immediately introduced your entire team to us, was it uncomfortable at moments when all focus was on whether or not you were going to score and how many you were going to score?
Well, be honest with you, like before the season and obviously last year, like no one thought like it can be happen, because 894, it's a huge number, right? But as soon as I get like closer and closer, like I have so much attention, and it's been crazy, to be honest with you, because attentions, media, fans, like it was something nuts. But overall, it was great for hockey because everybody's talking about hockey, about Wayne Gretzky, the greatest player to play in hockey, and it was great. So, I mean, I started to believe like when it was a 3 or 4 goals, and like okay, like maybe it can happen. And obviously, I break my leg during the year, and it was kind of like okay, maybe next year, maybe one more year. But overall, that's why I introduced my team, because those guys, without them, like I would never reach that milestone, and I would never reach that great accomplish. And obviously, without my family as well, my wife, my mom, and obviously support from my friends.
Yeah, shout out to the whole support system. Obviously, everybody needs that around them. The better the system, the better anybody could potentially be. And you mentioned a lot in there. And you talked about the attention. You talked about it being great for hockey. We agree completely. Everybody was watching the Great Chase. And whenever you bring up Wayne Gretzky, a lot of people learned of Wayne Gretzky's greatness, I believe, that maybe didn't know beforehand. A lot of people maybe learned that this goal-scoring record was considered unattainable because of how great it was. I think you grew the game massively. I think you were great for the sport. You should take a lot of pride in that. Now, when it comes to Wayne Gretzky, he said that he was going to be the first person to congratulate the person that broke that record or whatever, and he came through for that. Showed up at the last couple games, knew you were going to break it. Have you always had a great relationship with him, and how has that kind of friendship, peerness kind of gone?
Yeah, he's such a great person. First time I met him in the draft, 2000, I think 5 or 6, and we have a dinner with him in LA when we have our All-Star game, and I met with his wife. We spent such a great time together. Like like as a kid, like it's a dream to meet the legend, and I'm lucky enough to have a meeting with Mario Liu. I played against him my first year. Wayne Gretzky, German Ginla, Owen Nolan, like all those guys, Sergei Fedorov. It's like I'm lucky guy because it's like in basketball you have a dinner with Michael Jordan. I never have a chance to meet Michael Jordan, but it's one of my dreams, and I have his signed jersey. But it's one of my dreams to meet the greatest player to play basketball.
Well, let's make that happen. Obviously, I think that will immediately now. But whenever you talk about meeting with all those guys, when you talk about meeting all those guys, they're all saying they sat with you, brother. You're fucking Alexander Ovechkin. That is awesome. And I'm happy to hear how humble you are about how much everybody has given to you. Go ahead, AJ.
Yeah, Ovi, can you take us back to how you felt right after you made that goal and your celebration. You're on the ice. You're sliding through there. We see the iconic picture, but then instantly you are pummeled by your whole team. It had to feel amazing. Like, what was it? Like, were you expecting this? Did you plan to do this little celebration, or how did this all come about?
No, like I was so excited. I just felt probably my skate, like my trainer Brock probably didn't sharp my skate like before I scored the goal. So that's why I felt. But yeah, like that moment gonna live forever, and it's unbelievable. So yeah, I'm like. How I said, I can still I'm still can't believe it's happening, and what we did and what we did and New York Calendar, it's gonna stay forever. So yeah, I'm very happy.
That's an awesome poster right there, forever. What a moment. Legendary. Only more to come. Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, Ovi, just curious, are you still drinking like pop, like Coke or Pepsi on the bench? I know that was a big thing during your career, and at what point?
Oh yeah, I still have like we're in a plane, and I have my Cheetos, my Subway, and Coke for sure. And on the bench, I always have a Coke. So if you see me drinking a bottle, it's a Coke.
That's awesome. God, that's awesome.
That's a legendary. So, with that being said, a lot is talked about how you're incredibly jacked and how good a shape you're in. And now you're in record-breaking season.
Are you sure I'm in shape?
Yeah. I see pictures of you with no shirt more than I see a lot of other people with no shirt on. And the Stanley
in the
Cup
summer,
celebration,
no good. In the summer, no good.
No, all the time good. You're one of the OGs, man. You're like the old guard thing. Do you think about, how much longer the body can go? And have you had to make an adjustment in your game as you've gotten older on the ice?
Well, I have one more year, and we'll see what's gonna happen. I'll be honest with you, I love the team. I love be around the boys, and as long as I can, I will try to stick around and put my great body, how you said, in NHL. So we'll see.
Have you had to change up? Because it looks like you're playing the same way. You're sitting in the office over there, puck's coming, and it's going right to the back of the net. You're still hitting people, okay? Still a dog, okay? Which is never talked about. Best goal scorer in the history of the game. Also willing to fight you if he has to. Have you had to change up? Do you feel your game changing, or do you still think you play the same way?
Yeah, of course you have to adjust a little bit, but as soon as the season is over, how many times you have to prepare your body, to prepare your mind for next year. So I mean, when you're young, it's one thing, but when you get older, it's a different thing. But overall, sometimes you have to start training a little bit earlier. Sometimes you have to train a little bit later because it's it depends when your season is over.
Yeah, less vodka sometimes. You got to get going there. You a vodka guy?
No, I'm beer guy.
Beer, strictly beers. Yeah, we see you after every single game crack open a beer. Doesn't matter what type of beer.
I like Stella and Sapporo.
Ooh, okay, I like that. Ooh. Every arena will make sure they have them going forward. D-Butt has a question for you.
Yeah, congrats again. It was great watching the great chase. I got to ask you about a question. So, popped up on my timeline a couple weeks ago, 3-6 Mafia, Bands That Make Her Dance, that being kind of your song. When did that start, and what was it like having the guys in the arena?
Yeah, we signed Jacob Chikrin. And he wears, it's band, and John Carlson Benza, he call him Benza, and I'm like, okay, Benza make a dance, and we start that kind of stuff, and yeah, it's virus. It's lots of kids, lots of NBA players doing that kind of stuff, and yeah, it's pretty cool to see those guys to support us. And obviously, it's pretty cool. Like how I said, it's great for hockey. It's great.
Yeah, it feels like the more we learn about you, Ovi, the more we love about you, and that's coming from a guy who grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as a Penguins fan, obviously old school rivalry there. Tone has a question for you, Ovi.
Yeah, I do. Ovi, it's kind of about that rivalry because I watched you at PPG, going against Sid, and then obviously you break Wayne's record this year for scoring, and then Sid breaks Wayne's record for 20 seasons in a row, averaging at least a point per game. How cool is it that you guys came into the league together, after the lockout, and you guys have basically been carrying the NHL for the last 20 years? And what is your relationship with Sid like these days?
Yeah, obviously me and Sid, to be honest with you, the first couple of years was not that good, but right now we talk congrats each other if we hit some milestones, and those relationships is from the battle to outside, in the hockey and outside of hockey, it's a total different thing. So we're gonna have a last game in 3 days between us and Pittsburgh, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a battle because it's still a rivalry. But after the game, we always hug, we always chatting, and we have respect to each other. And you're right, what we did to NHL, it's a tremendous thing. Me and him, it's what we do all those years. It's great for us. People gonna talk about Crosby and Ovechkin, Pittsburgh and Washington for maybe 20 or 50 more years, and it's great. So it's a battle, but it's a friendship right now. So it's all good.
I'm happy to hear that. You both were incredible to watch all those years, and can't wait to see how you both finish these legendary careers. You're the man, the greatest goal scorer of all time, Alexander Ovechkin.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Legend.
We met his whole team there. That was awesome. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you then. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. I think I got it in. Shout out to the screen here. Shout out to the screen here. How about him introducing us to his entire team? That was awesome.
Awesome. That's hockey.
What a legend.
Yeah.
That is hockey. You're right, dude.
Yeah, that's how they do.
Here's Judy. Here's Dog. Say hello, Dog. They're saying hello.
Good cap.
Oh, America. It's Carlson. America. They're chanting USA. USA. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Whole fucking plane. AJ, what'd you say? Hey, who's flying it? Didn't you say that?
I thought we were gonna, someone said, who's flying this plane? I was hoping he was going to go see the cockpit. We got introduced to the pilots. Imagine, how many years has he been there?
20?
20, yeah.
I mean,
20?
Ovi is, he is that organization. That's him. It's going to be so weird when he's not there. When he's not there, it's going to be really
Without
awkward.
a doubt.
Won't be the same.
He's like, I got 1 year left. I love the boys. I love the boys. Such a moment there whenever he shows up on the screen. Then I immediately start thinking to myself, I don't know if I've ever heard Ovi just chill and talk. Nick, does that happen often?
Very rare, and you could tell throughout the 20 years he's gotten much more comfortable with his English, and he speaks pretty damn well, all things considered, to come to a different country, dominate a sport, and try and learn a second language. You could tell he's just got a great personality, and it's one of the things that people complained about with the NHL for years. Is we need more guys like this who are open-minded and willing to talk, and sometimes it makes it a little bit tough when they speak a different language primarily, but Ovi's been one of the guys to try and break down that barrier, and he's just an awesome personality, super cool dude.
And they've been there this whole time. We talked to Sid now at a big night out, cool. We talked to Ovi, coolest dudes of all time. They've been here the whole time. Can we get a microphone in these guys' face at some point? Could we have met these guys? Because I guess hockey's so it's not about me, it's about we.
Yeah, they're almost too
literally
old
just
school.
Yeah, for real.
They've been there almost too long. Think about the guys he mentioned when he came in, Fedorov, Lemieux, Wayne. He's almost been in the league so long that he's so far removed from the time now. Tkachuk, you could say Matthew Tkachuk's great. He comes on all the time, but that's kind of that new era. Whereas Ovechkin and Crosby, they came up in the team. If you get asked to do an interview, you better shut your mouth if you go do it. Now it's cool that they're at the point in their careers though where it's we are part of Mount Rushmore of our generation. We can do whatever the hell we want.
D-Bot, Ovi's different, brother. That guy's just awesome. Dog since day one, can tell by talking to him.
Yeah, watching his highlights over the years is crazy. Just his physicality. Obviously, he's an unbelievable goal scorer, but watching his physicality, how he just pummels guys out there. And it is crazy to hear what the question Ty asked him, is he still drinking Coke on the sideline? For him to still, and I guess, especially old school guys, they are who they are. They kind of stick to who they are and how they go about their business. But that's insane that he's been able to have this type of longevity in this game, and then breaking the record is obviously awesome. Him saying, shit, I'm coming back. I got one more year. We'll see how it goes. But to the culture thing, like the personality is great. Hearing these guys talk, I got an opportunity to go kind of in the change room with you after the Penguins game. Like, obviously, they're all cool as fuck behind the closed doors, but once they get in front of mics, like, they don't want the spotlight just on them. It's just team. And I still kind of love that, but from a marketing, from a brand thing, from a money-making thing, I'm sure Gary Bettman, I would assume
promote him.
That he would want it to kind of change a little bit and open up and learn more about, the athletes. You talk about it sometimes with the NBA. Like, the more we can get to know these guys and see them behind the scenes, I think the more, likable they become, the more relatable they become, and, people tend to like the league more.
People like humans these days, that's like they follow. That's, social media. These streamers.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about all of it. Like, I think people have to be invested in the person more now than ever before to be a fan of said thing. Like, I think that is just kind of the way the world is, because we know so much about so many. And I think them not wanting to have any attention on them is one of the traits that people would love about hockey if they knew about hockey, But it kind of works against them because they don't want anybody to know they exist, because they don't want to do interviews, and people know that they're awesome, so nobody fucking knows about them, so they don't know about the game. So it's like, it's a big one of these. But hockey is awesome, and so is Ovi. All right, let's take a break because we got some college hockey to talk about on the other side. AJ, have you heard about this?
I have heard about this. Who do we have joining us on the other side?
Frozen 4 happened. We have a national champion. Ooh. From what state is this university from, Foxy?
The great state of Michigan, Pat.
Oh, is that the hockey state?
Not Foxy's school. But
well, my school was actually the second best team going into the Frozen Four,
Congrats.
and they lost in the first round. So this school's
classic.
Great, though. Yeah.
But they were second best going in.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think UConn
going in, everybody was like, this team could do it.
It was the year.
Number 2.
You kind of
sweet.
Western Michigan head coach will join us on the other side. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice about change your life. Take 5.
5.
Is it? What a moment. Can you imagine? McAfee for his boys. For the brand. Now the celebration is on. Brad McAfee and Stone Cold Steve Austin. McAfee's wanted to drink beer with Stone Cold forever. What a magical moment. A dream scenario. Brad McAfee wins his match at WrestleMania and shares a beer with the tech. Oh no! Stunner! 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 Austin stuns McAfee! I hate to say it, but DTA, Pat, don't trust anybody. Especially the dirtiest son of a bitch to ever play the game. Austin 316 says, I just stunned Pat McAfee. This Pat can enjoy his victory when he wakes up. The celebration belongs now to the Texas Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
my, what a couple of nights.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, hit back. Celebrate.
Give him about 10 minutes.
I'm surprised you're even here tonight after last night. Well, I didn't expect Austin to be here tonight.
Okay, Pat, I like it up to
better, Pat.
I respect the game.
Gentlemen, congratulations. Thank you so much for taking the time where you're contractually obligated to, so I appreciate you guys being here.
I want to be here. I just want you to know.
Come on.
I have watched you do your thing, man. Nothing but respect and praise for you.
Will you touch this? Me too, man.
Way to go, number 2 overall, baby.
Bench, dude. Boys, you're calling a national championship again, Ty Schmidt.
Unbelievable. Should we be here?
No!
Probably not.
No
but
way. I kicked the ball to myself on that.
Oh, yeah.
Right there, I kicked the ball to myself.
That's right. Should have told CJ.
Maybe the most athletic thing I've ever done in my entire being. Well, CJ, yeah, happy to see you.
Completely ruined.
Everybody's happy to see you.
Ruined the line.
I picked him.
Really
I picked him to win. I'm all right.
CJ. Congratulations on winning the AFC South as a rookie quarterback.
It's a big deal.
First time ever with a rookie.
You okay?
That's a big deal, CJ. Dude, you're absurd, bro.
Thank you.
For how young you are?
Playing in Indianapolis, that was probably the loudest stadium I played in NFL.
Wow.
That was like a college atmosphere.
How about that?
Excellent. Pete, you got 2 knees, 2 ankles?
2 knees, 2 ankles, and some big boy pants that slide up around.
Move along like I know you can. Move along.
That guy's penis go.
That guy had a lot of courage.
Good question.
It's ice cold in there. It's ice cold.
It's the first documented button dick.
Game day set.
That's what's being said. I didn't come up with that. That's what's being said.
It was our show, 3 hours, 15 minutes. Then it was a 2-hour gap. Then it was game day, straight in national championship field pass. For 2 schools that are going to be talking about this day for the rest of their lives. Both of these teams being chastised from all different angles. Washington, there's no way this team from the Pac-12 in their last year with Kalen DeBoer as the head coach can continue to win. They're going to stumble somewhere. They didn't. Then you think about Michigan. 2 separate suspensions for their head coach, and all they've done is stay the course. And tonight, banners, rings, reunion conversations forever on the line. What an honor it is to be here.
Look at his belt buckle like yours, man.
Belt buckle? Like with some light ranching to do down here in Houston. He comes out of his cuts, he sees people, he shakes them, and he doesn't look anywhere near as small as you would think. He's powerful. I love Blake. A lot of NFL GMs are saying, wait a second, is Michael Penix maybe one of the top 3 guys to go to the NFL? Because what he does with the football is stupendous. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the national championship game for the 2023 college football season. That'll see the Washington Huskies representing the Pac-12 in its final year, taking on that team led by that man, the Michigan Wolverines and Jim Harbaugh. We're bouncing. We are house calling. Donovan Edwards, touchdown in the national championship. Extra point is up and good. D-Butt with the one-hand grab to start the national championship.
And maybe D-Butt.
Pond man, what's the decibels over there?
Yeah, Pat, the decibels are high right now. Let me tell you, it's 106.4. This might be the line.
At decibel meter, we have actual gimmicks. Depending upon the night, does JJ go to the NFL, which Mel Kiper has him as the 5th-rated quarterback in the draft? What does that mean, Mel?
Well, you know, it means that he's got the physical and tangible tools in his head to be a first-round quarterback. I think whether he wins or loses. Oh, there's
Donovan Edwards running into our lap. That's 2 for the Michigan Wolverines and 2 for Donovan Edwards.
sign blocker been doing it? And how has he gotten to a level where he's the best in the game?
He's been a Michigan man for quite some time now. And obviously, he wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for that pesky bastard Connor Stout.
Hey,
Let's
go.
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
the all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
You pink.
Damn it!
Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Welcome to Hour 3 of the Pat McAfee Show. I'm AJ Hawk, sitting in here at Pat's desk in the Thunderdome. Pat's in Sacramento. Alex Ovechkin was just on the show, boys. Sports are the best. Pat, what's happening over there in Sacramento? I see him still. I mean, there's WWE production people. Everyone with the WWE has always impressed me. But, man, watching them for Big Night Out and watching them build everything from scratch was just awesome. Everything about what they do blows my mind.
Yeah, the WWE production crew are second to none. Always have been, always will be. The creative team, the way they go about doing it is phenomenal. Every single Monday I get to see it, obviously, in Raw arenas, and then there's SmackDown arenas, then there's some house shows. They're doing it 3-4 times a week, so them adding Big Night Out last week was incredibly kind of all parties that worked on that. Shout out to the WWE team, and shout out to the Sacramento Kings. Ace brought me a jersey.
Wow.
Ace brought me a jersey. I'm on team. I'm on Sacramento
I don't know if
Kings.
you want to be on that team.
Well, they got a big game coming.
They're in the play-in, right?
Yeah.
They're still playing.
That's cool. That's cool. What are we? Are we handing out participation trophies? All right.
Well, I don't know if I like the number 25 either, but if I was given a 10-day, I think I would take it for sure. You know, if I had to. But yeah, they're the ones that drafted Halliburton, right? And then traded him to the Indiana Pacers. So I'm very thankful for the Sacramento Kings, and I'm also appreciative of the jersey that a man named James, who's very handsome and also understands the city layout a little bit. He told me, hey, the A's stadium's right over there too. If you want to go take a block, we kind of run that place too. If you want to go walk around a little bit, get a tour, see something maybe for one of the last times. I said, absolutely, James, good guy. Thank you for the jersey. Thank you for the time. But also, we get a chance to chat with a national champion. Ladies and gentlemen, you should have been paying attention. Now, I only saw it on social, should have been watching it on TV. I do apologize. But there was a Frozen Four of sorts, a national championship of college hockey, which is obviously fantastic. And a team that you've heard of for sure, Boston, was being represented. A lot of hockey there. And then there was a team that was in its 50th season. The Western Michigan boys were on the ice. And the Western Michigan team would win 6-2 to win their first ever national championship. Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, head coach of the Western Michigan Broncos. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Pat Ferschwaller.
Guys, I'm excited. I'm a huge fan of yours. I could not be more pumped to be on this show.
Coach, I just want to have you know that I didn't know enough about your team before you guys took on Boston. I was watching these highlights roll in, and I was watching the mocks of your team, and then I was learning about your team, about how this is the first national championship in its 50-year run up there at Western Michigan, and then I learned about your story, being a former player, an absolute dog on the ice, and I couldn't help but fall in love with your team over the last 24 or 48 hours. Tell me about the experience. Tell me about winning the national championship. What was it like in that moment, realizing that you guys have accomplished something that no other team in your school's history has been able to accomplish?
Pat, this is a special group of young men. It's a team that with your energy, you'd love to be a part of. I think we kind of came in there and bullied Boston University a little bit with our will, and I'm just happy and proud for these young men.
Bullied him a little bit. Boston Connor has a question for you, actually.
Yeah, Coach, bullied him. It's incredible, first of all, that happened. But can you also talk about the fans? Because word on the street is the fans really showed out. They bullied the BU fans as well. Can you talk about them all season? Because I know they were massive for you guys all year.
Yeah, I mean, we have an electric atmosphere here at our home rink, and they're called the Lawson Lunatics, and they've earned that name for sure. They have their own website, they have their own gear, they're ready to go. So the support from the community, the support from the school is outstanding, and I felt like half of Kalamazoo was in St. Louis that day. You could feel it on the streets, honestly.
Okay, so let's talk about college hockey as a whole. We know college sports are incredibly, passionate and pageantry and tradition, and we learn about it through football You know, we very rarely get a chance to chit-chat about college hockey, except for when the Frozen Four takes place. How many arenas, how many schools have a Western Michigan fan base like? How many college schools in hockey are like, I don't want to say top-tier passion schools, but you understand what I'm saying, I think you're right.
I do. I mean, there's a good number of schools with hockey as a sport that breeds passion, and I think the fans that are there are all in. Obviously, it's a little more niche sport than football, but when you like hockey, you love hockey, and you're there and you're cheering and you're all in on hockey. So I think a number of them have that, but our student section is generally rated number one in the country, and I think they've earned that right.
Who are these guys that are playing for these colleges? Are they kids that have been drafted in the past? Are they kids from overseas? Is it high school, junior B, I think was something I remember that was chatted about whenever I was coming through high school. Who are the players?
Generally kids, honestly, from all over. We have about four. We have two Finns, two Swedes on our team. It's an international game, hockey is, there's no doubt. But this is 1/3 of the National Hockey League comes out of college hockey. I don't know if everybody knows that at all times, but superstars in the NHL have played in college hockey. The one overall draft pick, Macklin Celebrini, played for BU the year before. He stepped in with San Jose. He's a star. There's stars all over the NHL that play in the from college hockey. And again, it's about 1/3 of the league that comes out of our league.
That's awesome. And you guys are national champs of that whole damn thing. AJ has a question for you, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned it's such an international game. What's recruiting like? Like, what is, now that your season's over, you guys win and all, now what do you do? How do you go to the corners of the earth and find these guys?
Yeah, as you know, college sports is a fluid situation. So one, who's returning? And I say that more not because they don't want to return, but who's going to sign in the NHL? I think our captain's going to sign this morning. He'll play probably Wednesday in the NHL game. We have one or two other players that may do the same. So it's a pretty fluid situation. Who's going to return? Who's going to enter the portal? Probably the guys that didn't get as much ice time. But and then who are we going to recruit? Obviously, this helps recruiting in a massive way. But real unique as far as international players. You have to recruit off video and hope they turn out. Ours have all panned out in a great way. So fluid, interesting environment in all of college sports. But we lean into it and we enjoy it.
Coach, look out for these AI editors. They can make anything happen. They can make any. You think you're getting OV? You're getting OV, pal. How many games in a season in college hockey? How similar is the game to the NHL?
Well, we play about half the amount of games. So we played 42, NHL plays 82. But, it's great for us because it allows development, it allows practice time, it allows us to really, get our hands on these players and help their improvement on the ice, but also help them, grow up as young men and develop to be successful in life.
Ty has a question for you, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, I know you coached as an assistant with the Red Wings for a few years. What, in your opinion, what's the biggest difference between coaching college kids? I mean, you mentioned it, a couple of these kids obviously are studs and will go play in the NHL, but what's the biggest difference coaching NHL guys versus college kids?
Well, I think I'll start with the similarities is they all want to be great. And, our kids want to be great. NHLers want to be great. And so the passion is there on both sides of it. But, the NHL is just a more mature game. They've learned how to be repeatable. And I think the repeatability is the magic of pro sports. And can you perform every time, not just once, not just have a great game? But as I coach Henrik Zetterberg and Pavel Datsyuk, I learned they're either great or they're really, really, really good every single night. It's incredible how repeatable performances are in the pro hockey world.
Consistency is the difference between good and great, I believe. That is literally the difference between having a full-time career and just being a guy who has a cup of coffee. D-Bud has a question for you, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, you play, coaching at your alma mater. I'm sure you probably dreamt about the moment where you were the number one team in the country. You had that target on your back, and you were playing for a national championship. What was it like actually before going out there? What was the nerves like, and what was it like getting the boys ready to go to battle?
Well, I mean, our group's prepared, and I always say the nerves are for the unprepared. Our group felt fully prepared. They believed in themselves, they believed in each other, and they believed in our plan for success, and they followed through in a big-time way.
Hey, I just got a text from we have our our CFO, his name is Phil. I went to elementary school with him, junior high with him, and high school with him. He played high school hockey. He played for the junior Pens, I do believe. He would go on to play at Pitt and then coach at Pitt. Loves hockey. He just texted. He's got a little boy, too, that we're looking to get him to Western Michigan whenever he comes,
Love it.
Of age. You guys are building a $300 million arena up there in Western Michigan right now. Is that real?
That's an old headline. It's $515 million right now.
Damn.
Oh, yeah. So we've got one guy's going to build it. And he's going to donate it to the university. He said, Coach, I want you to think big. And I said, I'm your guy. Let's go. And so I've added over $100 million to that building myself. Every possible amenity you could ever have. He said, I want it to be the best arena in college hockey, and I want it to be the best performance center gym in college hockey. And I think we're going to have both. We're going to give the players everything they could possibly want for success.
Wow. Okay, so you talk about recruiting and winning a national championship, obviously helping, and having your captain play, a national championship on a weekend and then in an NHL game on Wednesday. And obviously, people know you for being a guy that can take their boys and turn them to men whenever it comes to recruiting. Yeah. Having a $500 million arena, is that abnormal? I assume that's abnormal in college hockey, or no?
I think it's abnormal everywhere. And the whole situation is they haven't said no to me in 2 years. This is an arena built with an imagination, not a budget. It is the best of everything. It's honestly a dream, and the support we have here again in the community is outrageous. And we're going to lean into it and enjoy it.
When's the season start?
All right, it's
when
start
does
of the
it?
school year, so in September, but we start practicing first regular season games in October, start of October. So we got a few months here to kind of regroup, enjoy this for a hot second, and then lean into recruiting and preparation.
Congratulations! They'll never be able to take that trophy over your right shoulder. Is that what that is?
It is. Well, that's a little mini personal version. The other one's at our celebratory deal we're going to do tonight.
Okay, well, enjoy the little ones and the big ones and the $500 million investment into an arena. Little Phil Maines, he's a goal scorer, this guy. We will expect him to be a Western Michigan Bronco hopefully someday, and we appreciate your time. You're the best. Ladies and gentlemen, national champion Coach Pat Ferschweiler.
Yeah. Oh. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Coach. AJ.
Is that strictly
Who the
hockey?
fuck is that donor?
We need to find out who that donor is.
It said basketball, I think.
He's got to play basketball too, right?
Yeah.
But who is that donor? I'm sure he's not anonymous, right?
Jeets. Yeah,
this has been built with an imagination, not a budget. Okay.
This is awesome.
Okay. What a line. What a line. That's literally like Roethlisberger's house. I don't want to come back to the same thing, but that seems like what that is. College hockey. Connor, you might follow it more. I don't know who would follow it in our – maybe Gumps. Gumps, can you bet on college hockey?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure. I just looked it up. Tim Allen, I believe, went. Now the internet's telling me went to Western Michigan. I assume Tim the Tool Man. He's probably
$500 million. He's not donating.
Astronaut.
He's building it.
Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, I do. I think Tim's probably got that covered.
Yeah, Pat. The Frozen Four though every year is electrifying. Like before they played Denver. I actually watched a Denver game because I missed the national championship, but they played Denver in the semis and they beat them too. It is incredible anytime it gets down to it. And I know BC, he talked about, a captain playing in an NHL game right after. Excuse me, Ryan Leonard was the captain of BC. They lost, and he was in that little video, Ovechkin just showing everybody of the team. He was on that plane. He was one of the guys on there. So it is one of those things where as soon as that season ends, they go to the NHL. And then sometimes, too, if they get on a good team and they go on a little run in the playoffs, they can make a name for themselves pretty quickly. I assume Leonard is going to have some massive goal for the Capitals, and then all of a sudden they're going to be talking about how he was playing at BC. They won all these games. Now he's in the playoffs this year, starting next week Sunday.
The hockey life is crazy. They move in high school.
Yeah,
most of them. They go live in different houses in high school, and there's like different training grounds almost, like Michigan, Minnesota, I think is the Nick. We had R.J. Umberger and Sergio Soma out of our high school that basically went and did this, I think, Nick. Is that accurate? And where do they move to? Junior B? Is that what it's called? I forget the name.
Yeah, there's a couple junior leagues. There's Junior B is very popular in the United States, and then I think you might be talking about the United States National Team Development Camp. And I know Foxy had an uncle that actually coached up there
Where's that?
ran that program for a couple guys. It's based out of Michigan. And they travel around and they play a bunch of the good junior teams, a bunch of good college teams, and it's unreal experience. And most of those guys are the guys you'll see in the World Junior Champions and eventually one day in the Olympics.
They live there, though, right? Don't they live in like houses, people's houses and shit?
billet
and that
family,
kind of how they sacrifice their.
Yeah, a lot of players go to juniors and live with billet families that sign up to host players and kind of,
What's Shattuck? You know what Shattuck is?
Shattuck St. Mary's, the prep school, yeah.
Okay, so that's
Minnesota.
like what Mighty Ducks 2. They went to like a Shattuck, right?
Mighty Ducks 3.
What did Jack do?
Jack went to Shattuck. He was there with Sid, so that's why I know about it. But that's where it's like a boarding school for hockey players, right, or everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
They're moving in there like when they're 14, right? 13,
I think it was 14 or
years.
something. Yeah, 14. That's like we were into high school.
It's like IMG made it popular, but it was happening in hockey forever. But it was only just hockey. Like, it was
Umberger, our guy Umberger disappeared. He was like gone. Like he went to our high school. We heard about him. Like we got a guy in Plum, and I go to like a Plum high school hockey game. He's like a freshman, I think, Dyson. And then the next year, gone. It's like, where'd he go? Oh, he's living with another family. It's like, doing what? Why? Is everything okay? Like, no, it's better than okay. It's like, yeah, he's on the fast track. And then he would have like a 12, 13-year career in the NHL. And he lived, hockey's a full commitment. That's because, yeah, the skating too. Like, did you see Sid's quads? D-Butt, did you see those things?
Yes. Yeah, on that throw, that was the first thing I saw that popped out. Obviously, he had perfect form, but the lower body on these hockey players, and obviously, because they skate so much, but yeah, he built like a tank.
Yeah, you got to be a dog in hockey. Like, have to be. Even the softest hockey players are the biggest dogs.
Yeah.
Let alone the amount of like face wiping that's just happening. That's just like you're just getting punched in the face, slapped in the face, just casually during the game. Let alone these sticks banging off your wrists and your shins and everything. I mean, it's just you're getting your ass beat the whole time. And then skating is so hard, and they're just full sprints. 5 a.m. because that's when you can get ice time. 4 a.m. they're out there doing it. Late night, midnight. It's just their gear smells like ass, and they're just strapping themselves into it. Hockey is that's a dogs only sport.
And they getting
dogs only.
A light workout in. Like we were in there. The team was it wasn't like a hard ass workout, but a light workout. After a game, pretty much the whole team coming in. Then they're going in shooting shots like. For the long, how many games? 82 games?
82,
yeah. And then obviously their playoffs start this Sunday, I believe, as well. Like the respect I have for those guys, man, it's incredible.
Basketball too. Like basketball gets all the one and done, but he just mentioned it. Coach did. Like Celebrini was in college last year, and then he's going and playing in the NHL. And a lot of times, like those camps, sometimes they don't even go to college. Like these guys are playing in the NHL at 18 years old. Like Jackie Aces did a one and done at BU, and then he went right to the league. And I think what was he, the number 2 overall pick?
What's that called? The Western Ontario. Is that it? The Western. I've heard Biz talk about it. It's like a junior league.
The WHL, yeah, the playoffs are happening right now, and Gavin McKenna is supposed to be the next number 1 pick next year. He just lit up a fucking tremendous goal last night.
But that high schoolers go to that or no?
Yeah, they're high school age kids and like young college age kids. It's like an alternative instead of going to university up north, Gumps, they go play junior hockey.
Dude,
so this WHL is the same thing. I guess it is a real deal, I guess, from what I've been told.
This is
They say
absurd.
WHL?
Oh, shit.
So how old are these guys?
That was nasty. McKenna's going to be a Penguin, or what? How's this work?
Yeah, if we stink bad enough next year, he's the guy.
I mean, how
You don't want to do
He's
that. Sid wants to win one.
What's the percentage of the? Because I feel like whatever their route is in the scouting, it pays off. And the coach was talking about recruiting online only. That's wild. But I feel like every top guy who's supposed to be the guy at like a 90% clip in hockey hits, as opposed to like NBA, it's almost like 50-50, 60, 40. Like why? Like has it always kind of been like that with hockey?
It's not every year though. You know what I mean? Like usually they say someone's going to be great like every 5 years.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like every other year, someone's not saying he's the next Crosby, he's the next this. Like Bedard was the first one that's really been built up since McJesus, right?
Okay.
And there's not a lot of depth, right, in hockey in the draft. It's normally like top 2 guys.
Yeah, there's not much after the top.
And you might
5,
draft a
top
guy and he
10.
goes to college for 2 years too, right? That happens.
Yeah, might opt to go do that. Yeah, it's hockey's interesting, man. It
And
is
when
an
you
interesting
get
sport,
labeled like that, like Nugent Hopkins got drafted before McDavid by the Oilers. He was supposed to be the next one. He's an unbelievable two-way hockey player, but he never lived up to the hype. But now he's like one of the Oilers' best players, two-way player.
Okay, got it. 'Cause I remember asking.
Anytime you're with, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just remember asking. I think it was Austin Matthews. Like, hey, what was your welcome to the league moment? He's my first game, I scored 6 goals. Like, okay. So you guys, when they say that's the guy, that's usually the guy. But okay, it makes more sense if it's kind of spread out every few years.
Well, Connor Bedard, I don't know if it's the Blackhawks or which it might be. I'm telling you, when these eyes.
What happened to him?
I've never, my whole life, I kept looking up. I thought the Penguins were on the power play. I've never seen anything like that.
It was pretty absurd.
I'm not exaggerating. I've never seen a team keep the puck in someone's head that long, 5-on-5.
And the Penguins weren't even trying to score at some point. It felt like they were just trying to keep it away from in their end, in the Blackhawks' end. They were just pass. I mean, it was
a big off night
kids.
for us for sure.
Yeah.
5-zip, big night for the Pens. That was good. I'm happy they won their off year for the Pens as well. This is the first time in how long?
Ever.
Pens,
Ever.
Bruins, Rangers.
Yeah, first time
ever.
That game was sad yesterday. Just watching that game and knowing those two teams weren't going to the playoffs, it was weird. It was weird.
Yeah, I wonder how the playoffs will do. No Boston, no New York,
And the
no
players,
Pittsburgh.
players' money counts on that. They got that escrow account that, depending on how the playoffs do, like with ratings and all that, how much they get back.
Ovechkin.
Islanders in?
No. No New York team.
Devils?
Texas hockey?
Devils
are in.
Texas hockey, Colorado in the first round is diabolical.
The West is good.
Those are two of the best teams in hockey playing in the first round.
Yeah, this might be the first
I'm
time
just thinking-
where. Oh, my bad.
No, I'm just thinking about you could definitely. I'm just thinking strictly about like hockey towns that give ratings.
Yeah,
Pat, this is the first
Not
time you mentioned those 3 teams, but this is also the first time all 4 of the U.S.-based original 6 teams are not going to be in the playoffs. So you're talking Detroit, the Rangers, the Bruins, and the Blackhawks. Those are pretty big markets.
Get it together, boys.
What are you guys doing?
I'm saying it's like who's gonna need a national audience? It's now obviously. Each individual team that is still left has a massive fan base. We are not knocking that at all. But whenever we're talking about like,
brands,
those are hockey towns. Those are hockey towns, and a lot of stars there. But I think this Capitals team has become beloved so much that people will want to follow along. Go ahead, Connor. Sorry, I cut you off there.
No, not at all. I was just going to say, like, this might be the first time where the first round of the NBA is kind of like outweighing the first round of the NHL just because of that. Like, obviously, we all know the NHL playoffs start to finish is probably the only sport where an 8 seed can go on and win the entire thing in the playoffs. But when it comes to like matchups that we're talking about, like brands and names, the NBA playoffs are looking unbelievable. The Warriors are either going to play the Rockets or the Thunder. Hopefully they end up playing the Thunder, which would be a great matchup. But then, the Grizzlies get in, they play the Rockets or the Thunder as well. So those are all teams with superstars. Nuggets, Clippers, Kawhi Leonard played 47 minutes the other night. So like we're talking about finally a team that has, the guy that we've been hoping they've had for the last damn near 5 years with the Clippers, and they're playing the Nuggets who, they fired their coach Mike Malone last year, not the magician, the head coach of the Denver Nuggets.
That was wild.
Yeah, kind of out of left field. And then a lot of people are pointing to how he lost a locker room and he said some stuff about their players not watching the film and all those types of things. But then you got Ant and the Timberwolves playing LeBron, Luka, JJ Redick, and the Lakers. That's a massive matchup. And then on the East too, Pacers and the Bucks. That's kind of been their biggest rival is the Bucks with the whole entire thing with Giannis grabbing the basketball from the Pacers after that game last year, and they've had beef for a while. And then the Knicks Pistons. The Pistons have turned into America's favorite pick as of late this last month. Nobody's really, or at least being talked about as, hey, no one wants to play the Pistons. I don't know about that, but still got the Celtics and Cavs there as well. So the NBA playoffs, it feels as though is going to be incredible too. We always talk about how when the football season ends, we have March Madness, and the Masters is a good reminder how awesome the golf majors can be. But this is also this next 2-week span where the NBA and the NHL playoffs, we got 4 games every single night. It is an incredible time up until the conference finals where it starts to slow down again.
Let's enjoy it all, boys. Let's enjoy it all, especially as tonight's Monday Night Raw will be live from Sacramento, AJ. They're piecing some shit together behind me that I'm getting kind of captivated by. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck they're doing.
A lot of screws.
Yeah, how about how many people were there for Big Night Out?
Crazy.
Incredible.
Everywhere you looked, and they all felt like they were on the same page too. Just you look up, you look down for 10 minutes, you look up, and there's a whole other section of stage built, people hanging from wires on the roof. It was nuts.
We haven't got a chance to chat about this as a group, so if you're watching and this bores you out, I completely understand. We'll see you mañana. How about the catering at Big Night Out? We haven't really got a chance to catch up on all this. Okay, Foxy and I didn't. Foxy didn't sleep. I passed out for a few hours. We, alongside Bill and Gumpy, on Thursday, had to battle against file uploading, exporting, and basically doing it 4 or 5 times because certain file type either didn't work with our computer or the sending computer, or we got to change something whenever something's at 70%. Exported. So Thursday was a tedious day. Foxy, is that a good way to describe Thursday?
Yeah, spot on. I always thought I had a really powerful computer. Actually, Zito ordered for me, and it's always been so fast. But first time ever in our company's history that we had a 3.5-hour video to render out. So that thing crashed 3 or 4 times. Thank you, thank Dump, thank Bill, thank you guys for hanging out with me literally the entire day trying to get that thing up. We actually ended up leaving the office late at night and just letting it export and letting it upload. And that was risky. That was certainly risky, but it all worked out. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, there was a lot of decisions made that maybe weren't based in reality. That show went long, brother. Jeez Louise, that show went long. Did you expect it to be that long, AJ? I'll tell you, I did not. Okay, I did not expect it to go that long.
I wasn't exactly sure how long it was going to be, but it felt like I wasn't asking for it to stop. I was like, yeah, who else is coming out? I was getting surprised with everybody else. I'm like, he may have some other people coming out. I don't know. It was great.
It was crazy.
Going back to the catering, sorry to cut you off, D, but I had to, I think I ate there 4 times within 5 hours.
Legit.
The food, I don't know how to describe it. If you just saw me in there, and there's a coffee, making these crazy coffees and everything.
Ice sculpture.
Top to bottom, that thing was amazing. Everything about it.
Top notch, 10 out of 10. And we've been hearing you talk about it, and obviously one thing for you to dream it up and then actually for it to come to life. And I know a bunch of people I talked to kind of behind the scenes was like, yeah, there's no way anybody else could have fucking done this. So fucking hats off to you for actually putting that shit together. And we talked about how long it was. It didn't really feel like any low points, in the show. So even would it been that long, there's so many moments that kind of when the fucking McMoneymaker came out, and that shit was captivating. And my brothers were there, and they were hitting me and texting me after, bro, this is the most amazing live shit I've ever been to in my life. When's the next one? That was the first question I had from pretty much everybody. But yeah, obviously things change, and it's just like a game. Everything doesn't go perfectly, but that was fucking an incredible experience. And then obviously, Fly Eagles Fly fan winning at the end. That was kind of
$2 million at the end is a great way to end it. I don't want to tell their story. They're expecting their first child in July. So congrats to them. Yeah. He goes. I get a chance to meet him afterwards, and there's the clip on the Hulu where "Go Birds!" He just said right there. He's in shock, and then I say Philadelphia Eagles fans. Everybody starts booing them. They go, "Yo, birds," in everybody's face. But get a chance to chat with them afterwards. It was like just so cool. And I thank you for saying that, D-Butt.
That's real.
And from your family and friends that watched it. There was quite an audible that was made in the middle of it that nobody would hopefully know about. But just know
it was insane. It was absolutely insane.
It was quite an audible that took place. So as Hiroki was backing out, I was pretty pumped up about it. I'm like, take your time, Hiroki. We got to figure some shit out.
Slow down.
So as he didn't have any ears in, obviously, I couldn't get to him. But every time there was a little bit of a delay, I'd hear a crowd go, "Gah!" or whatever. I'm like, okay, that buys us an extra at least 15 seconds. But massive shout out to everybody. The catering, though, I felt very compelled to make the catering very good. Because I think the catering is a place where people hang out. I think the catering can like set the tone on if somebody's like thankful to be there. If you get some shitty food, you're just going to be like, this sucks. Like, that's just how everybody feels. And everybody's going to have to eat. So I wanted to get good food in the catering, and shout out to the WWE folks, piecing together the contracts with the local companies, too. There's local restaurants that were represented in there. There's some down south pizza in there, some meat in there, some seafood out there. There was a lot. Everything. There was a lot in there. And that guy right there on the camera, Stu, shout out to him wearing that camera for like 10 hours. Shout out to Wiz and Snoop, obviously showing up in Bonix in the back. But it was like, it was a long night. And then we had a delay. And obviously, I think there was a lot of upbeats as well throughout. I mean, Sid throwing a ball for $1 million is absolutely awesome. We had to delay the doors early, boys. You guys saw that take place. You saw that. Didn't you see that, Con, man? Did you expect that whenever you were watching rehearsals unfold?
I think just because of the PPG from the night before. Like that, it was such an ass beating. I believe everybody who was kind of watching that Penguins game, Blackhawks, was kind of just enjoying it after the fact. So the entire transition from, the ice to then that entire stage, which was incredible, was massive. The fact that they do that, we were talking about before.
Big. I didn't think it was going to be that big.
It's huge. Like the fact that WWE people can put together, have been doing that twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, over and over again for, I don't know how 30 plus years, it is insane. But once you walked in, and because we got there around noon and saw like the spectacle of what they were building, I think that was always a possibility. But then once we were kind of going through everything, because you also had to make a lot of like organizational changes just to like the things that were popping up, because a lot of people probably don't know, like, you also produce the entire thing of when everything's coming up and when people are doing what, and exactly to a T what everyone was doing, which was wicked cool to see you working and doing that entire thing. But it felt around like 6 o'clock that, okay, there's a chance that this might get pushed back a little, because we didn't get done with like our entire run through until like 6. Like me and Ty had to go back to the hotel to get ready because we still weren't showered, or at least I still wasn't showered in the entire thing. I had to cut out the pants. The ass was chapped in my pants still. Now that wasn't until
tailoring.
Yeah, tailoring until like 6. I have to return that rental today until like 6 6:30. So it was just one of those things where it didn't really matter though. It felt like these people are going to be having fun. Of course, in the moment, if you're lined up out there, I'm sure that did suck, and we apologize, but we also knew on the other side of that wait, what you're going to experience is going to be well worth it.
It's a beautiful day too.
Yeah,
it was. It was. Yeah, it wasn't raining or anything.
No,
I mean, so, but also people had to wait a half an hour, but I'm sure most people thought that the show was only going to be 2 hours, or so it's you had to wait a little bit, but then they got the extra bang for their buck on the back end, where it's oh, okay, I'll wait a half an hour if I'm going to get an additional hour on top of what I thought I was paying for. So it was sweet.
I listened to Mikey and Big Bob. They did Big Morning After their podcast, and I listened to a little bit of them talking about it. And at one point they were like, okay, sumo's coming out here because Pat saw sumo wrestling one time in Japan. And I think if you watch the Big Night Out Hulu version that is currently available now, I think, and my wife said this, that show's so ridiculous. That's such a ridiculous collection of shit. And it didn't really, because when I'm in it, I'm just kind of How do we get to the next part? Do we got to stretch a little bit because we have something going on with the big moneymakers ladder potentially? The ladder is potentially not connecting. Need that because you got to be able to get up there. Need to stretch a little bit. Need to feel a little bit, and that's like why the WWE people are so great. Like there's a guy named Fathom and Marty, obviously in the truck that are doing their thing. Just constant communication with me about how it all kind of goes there. But if you were to watch it, it's like very obvious that I have maybe the most ADD of all time. Do you think the most? Is it the biggest, the mostest ADHD of all time? Foxy put together a clip where I'm like, ba 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 ba. And the fact that everybody was able to kind of understand what the hell I was trying to say and be patient with me through it all was so cool. But what a fucking ridiculous show, AJ. What an absolutely ridiculous. That's all. While I was watching it back, I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing ever pieced together. I see Hiroki's cheeks right there in my face as he and Ichi are just battling. It was so ridiculous, but I enjoyed all of it. I can't thank everybody enough. You included AJ on a hot mic.
Yeah, well, that was fun as well. The show was shifting and changing, so I may have spoken to that hot mic a few times before that, even not really sure if you could hear me or not. So, yeah, it was.
Really?
Awesome.
You have to watch back, see what's on.
I don't know how that's going to go, but it was. And Parker McCollum comes walking, plays right next to us. Like, that dude's amazing too. Seeing him earlier in the day, seeing him go through what was going on, hitting like he even said he said to me, he's like, we're like. He's like, AJ, we're witnessing greatness like this. There's nobody in the world who can do this but Pat. I was like, yeah, I know, absolutely. Like, from when you talked about it to it all, like executing everything. Yeah, it was just the sumo thing. I got a text from my wife during the sumo thing, and she said, the kids are loving the sumo bit. They loved Shane's comment. They loved everything about the sumo situation. So that was a huge seg for our house.
Shane post sumo doing sumo.
Yeah.
Elite.
Shane Elite, yeah, I think that's the only way to describe that. There's a reason he's the best in the world, folks. Shane goes. How about him when he gets up on top of the thing? On top of the moneymaker?
He really shined on it.
Yeah. Felt like he got real comfortable in there. And if you, I think in the arena, because some of the audio not as easy to hear, I think if you watch it back, the things Shane is saying during the matches, awesome.
So
because you can't really hear it in the arena, but whenever you watch it back, just like Ty and Connor, like the things they were saying, you can't really. It's I think because the echo maybe, and with all the energy that was going on, and maybe somebody next to you is yelling, you couldn't really hear the exact words that were being said. It's like. You guys were the right commentary team. You guys and Michael Cole were the right people to be out
It's
there.
an honor.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Shane, at one point, I was going to say something. I heard him, like I was about to say something, and so like while he was finishing his moment, like I went to talk, and I popped so hard I could barely speak into the mic from what he was saying. And then even the end, where he's like, "Fuck it, E.G. That was so funny. Shit.
Crazy, man.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was a wild night. Thank you to everybody for making that possible. And
also, hey,
Parker McCall, go ahead.
Okay, still, maybe the craziest thing of all is you wearing your cowboy boots with no socks for a 5-hour show. Like, do you have 55 blisters? That had to be, I cannot imagine that.
The left foot's in a bad spot. The right foot is okay for some reason. So Connor talked about 6 o'clock, his rehearsal wrapping up, having to get back and do a shower. And everything like that. I needed a shower as well. I'd been there all day, and the rehearsals ran all the way up until, basically the door opened. So then I had to go backstage, chit-chat with everybody about what we had just rehearsed maybe an hour ago, maybe 2 hours ago, to make sure everybody's on the same page. Obviously, there's some sage and some vitamins bouncing around. So there's a, hey, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? One thing leads to another. Need to shake this hand. Need to shake this hand. Need to thank this person. Thank you for doing this. Catering. You guys have crushed it. Okay, boom, bam, ba, 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 ba. 22 minutes until showtime, okay? So now I got to sprint to bus. I'm like, all right, I'm going to shower. Can't shower, though, because on bus I am told about a potential situation that could be brewing, okay? Nothing bad, but just something that could pop off. Okay, cool, no big deal. Let's do that. We'll move forward. Now we got 17 minutes till the delayed start time. So I go with no shower. I turn on my shower, dunk my head, basically, towel it, get dressed. And then I go to find socks. I don't have any socks in the place that's normally in. We got 8 minutes, so I just shove the cowboy boots on with no socks because I ran out of time. Sprint over there, get underneath the ring, and then underneath the stage, and then come up there. And it was 14 seconds in where I was like, man, this is my left foot's going to be in some real pain here. And it was. It certainly was. I got blisters on the pinky, blisters on the big toe, the whole thing. But hey, it's the least I could go through for all the people that came out and hung out with us. There was one fight I saw that was reported. Other than that, I feel like it was a pretty solid evening of happiness. Feels like everybody was kind of enjoying the vibe.
You're always going to get one of those in Pittsburgh. That's just standard. It wouldn't be a Pittsburgh show if you didn't.
Yeah.
I saw some people responding like, of course, a Pat McAfee event, this douchebag, there's a fight or whatever, there's chaos. And it's like, I'll tell you what, I don't think I thought about whether or not there was going to be a fight. But if I was to be asked, I probably would have assumed that there would have been at least a hand thrown in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at a 3-hour event. Instead, hopefully everybody's okay. Hopefully everybody's healthy. And I feel like everybody had a good time. Everyone had and we're going to try to provide more of that. Once again, want to be an additive, not a negative. AJ, thank you for traveling to Indianapolis. Boys, thank you for everything. I will see you tomorrow back in the Thunderdome. Remember, it's WrestleMania week.
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
Friday, we have a massive couple guests. Massive from WWE World. Big.
Bob Backlund.
Okay. How big?
This is just like when people were pushing Aaron for the big night out.
You're right.
Oh, you got big surprises, huh? Is Aaron Rodgers saying he's done the Steelers? He better be saying. And it's like, no, we got other shit though. I hope you're okay with though. I hope you're okay with. And Aaron did not sign with the Steelers at big night out. Falsely reported by a few people. Never mind. Parker McCollum will be in Pittsburgh May 31st with George Strait. Can't wait for people to go watch him at Acrisure. Thank you to him doing that. Kush and Orange Juice 2, Kush and OJ 2, coming out April 18th with Wiz Khalifa. Obviously, Getting Gone of Snoop Dogg and Ernest is now available. We had the world premiere on Wednesday night. And O's the Mentalist guessing my PIN code made me change my PIN code for first time, long time, made me a better person. What a night. What a time. What a life. We appreciate you all for allowing us to do this for a living. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. We're in this thing together. Team on me. Team on 3. This was pretty cool at PPG too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Great end.
Sweet.
Yeah, it seems like they all do it. I wonder if people do it at home whenever we do this on a daily basis. It's an interesting
I think
thought.
so. I think they do.
All right, team on me, team on 3. I appreciate you all. Love you all. 1, 2, 3.
Team.
Goodbye.